Welcome to episode 11, I think, of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host,
Mhm.
Andrew Rivera, alongside Miss Witchy Perfect. There. And why is it never? Oh, there we go. And yes, Greg this week. He's our co-host. So there you go. Welcome to the show, everybody. And let's see. So yeah.
Sorry I couldn't be there last week for the 420 episode. I was listening though.
Oh yeah.
You were definitely here in spirit.
Oh yeah.
I saw we seen some of your comments, but that was
Oh
a
yeah,
fun
those were
time
good.
with Kid Cabello last week. That was a fun time. We we spent time talking about Montreal Screwjob and a lot
Yeah.
of other shit. So if
Y'all,
you haven't
y'all did
watched
a
it,
y'all did a very good job of covering it.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you. If you haven't seen it already, just go into one of the channels down here, whatever channel you're on, and it should be there. It's episode 10, Montreal Screwjob. You'll see it. It's there. But yeah, so let's get to today's episode, which we're going to be talking about all the happenings of
Oh boy.
pro wrestling this week, which is mostly an attack on AEW as
The
usual.
content
But
form of AEW keeps on delivering.
it's I put out a tweet that kind of went viral, so we'll get to that. But yeah, so let's start off with the most recent episode of Dark Side of the Ring, which featured Sherri Martel, or Sensational Sherri, as people might know her
Mhm.
from WWF. So I saw it. I thought, oh wow, I did not know she had a son until I saw that episode. I had no clue, and I follow wrestling
Ah,
pretty closely.
I did not know that she walked out on her son. I knew she had a son. I didn't know she walked out on her son when her son was about 6 months old. And my comment was kind of like, "Oh, I know it was your life. Wrestling was your life. You wanted to be in the business, you wanted to have a career, but that's one of those hard ones, you know?"
Yeah,
It's hard to justify that under any circumstance.
Right, because, I mean, I would wanna know what my son's doing all the time, I would think about him all the time, and I'm sure Sherry did too. It's just it would be
yeah,
very hard for me, like, to walk out and not have really much to do with my son, but, Jared, bears her no will. He has
no,
cancer. You've seen him, right, Angel?
yeah.
Oh, I mean, he had half of his tongue
Oh man.
removed because of cancer. Oh, I'm glad he
When I
beat it, but I
yeah,
mean,
when I first saw the episode, I couldn't understand him. I'm like, what are you saying? He's like, oh,
and that's why
he
they
had
had
cancer.
subtitles. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm not. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know she had a son. And second of all, you can tell he had cancer because he looks sickly.
Mhm.
But I'm glad he's still with us. So it's not like he's. I'm glad he's still with us, but still, it was tough to watch him. But luckily, he holds no ill will towards his mother, as we said,
Mm-mm.
and
He
it's
said,
like,
basically, his time with his mom was time with his mom. There's certain things he didn't talk about with his mom because, it would mean no more time with his mom. So, like,
yeah,
her, abuse of, not only drugs and painkillers, but also alcohol as well.
yeah,
Um, and, yeah, she was a pothead, but I mean, it that is better for her than the painkillers.
Oh,
I would've
100%.
I would've smoked more than I would've taken those painkillers.
yeah. I
To me,
mean,
she'll always be most remembered for that promo she did with the Ultimate Warrior,
Yeah,
where she tried
when
to seduce
he
him
kisses him.
into giving the
uh-huh,
Macho King a title shot.
No
yeah,
offense, Sherry, you could have done better. I didn't
And
like the Ultimate
she was
Warrior.
a great wrestler too. She was actually
She was a
yeah.
great wrestler, yeah, and they had Rockin' Robin on, they had of course, they had Jim Cornette on because, he was the first one she had a manager, it was Jim Cornette, he was the first one to manage her, so, and he talked about her and knew she was having problems and stuff, but, I mean, she never let on that she was, hurt, but she would take these crazy bumps, and of course she
yeah,
would self-medicate, you know? Back in those days, most of the guys did, they
mhm,
self-medicated. So it doesn't surprise me at all that she was into that stuff, but I wouldn't have gotten on painkillers because again, it got her addicted and then probably led to her early demise. And that's something very sad. I mean, Jared was even saying, that he unfortunately um, you know, he said I was talking to her one day and then I woke up and she wasn't there anymore. That's what her best friend said too. I couldn't call her because, I was talking to her though last night, and I wake up in the morning, get this call, and she's not here. I didn't know. This is something I didn't know. I did not know that her and Jake the Snake Roberts, had dated on and off. They were boyfriend, girlfriend.
That was
I
news.
did
Yeah, that
not
was the
know
new one.
that. They actually met. She threw something at him. He turns around to look at her, and I guess, he just kind of, I don't know if he asked her out or whatever, but, one thing led to another, and they started, Hi, Dee.
So D is having internet issues, so
Aren't we
but
all?
so I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be coming on tonight. But if he is, I sent you the link, D. If you're able to come on, just click the link. If not, then you're here. So that's what matters. But yeah, it was a good episode. I learned a lot. I didn't know she had a son. I didn't know. I knew that. I didn't know that. As long as he holds no ill will towards her, I was like, okay, and I'm not gonna hold it against her too much. But
Like I said, the only thing I didn't know about Sherri was that, she, dated Jake the Snake. That threw me through a loop. I'm like, "Oh my god, they dated? She dated Jake the Snake? Oh
well,
my god."
Jake was a referee then. I think he was just starting out.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And she was still not in the business yet. If she was a fan, basically, she happened to be at the matches.
Right, right. So, she went up to Grizzly Smith at 16 years old and said, "I wanna be a wrestler," and he said, "Get out of here till you're 21."
That doesn't sound like Grizzly Smith.
I know.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
surprised he didn't,
Sorry. That was
bunga, bunga, bunga,
Yeah.
that was
but,
a joke in bad taste.
he was more for
Jake
younger than that.
Jake said that
He was too old.
Jake said
I'm
that it
sorry,
was
never
Sherry's a little
mind.
too old for my dad. That's
Yeah,
all I'm gonna
Sherri was
say.
16 at the time and a
Yeah.
little too, but she wanted to settle down, she wanted to have a family, but she also wanted a wrestling career. Um, I don't know. See, that would be if I really wanted a wrestling career. My son would still be in my life, and I would call him as much as possible and try to be there for every, birthday or Halloween or whatever. But I don't know if I could just walk out on my husband and my son. I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do that.
That era those schedules they worked were tough, man. I feel like
Yeah, they were very,
a lot
very
of kids
brutal.
from wrestlers in that era,
Yeah.
Which is why
really.
she had to choose, and it's like, yeah, I'm going out on the road. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear about it all the time with Dustin Rhodes and
Yep.
Jerry Lawler. So yeah.
I
So,
get it. I don't know. That would be a really tough one because
If I
I
was
would
a wrestler,
still.
I wouldn't want to I wouldn't even think about settling down and having kids. It seems like those two things just don't mix.
But
I would.
if my soulmate's in my life, that's kind of hard because we both want kids. We both want, to have that relationship. It's almost like you'd have to take your family with you, but you can't have kids on the road all the time. They'd have to go to school. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That would just be very hard for me. And it was probably hard for her too. I'm sure she missed her son very
yeah.
much. But they would go back to that one interview they did. I think it was in 2007. The one I've seen on titlematch.com where she's in a gorgeous white lace dress. Gorgeous. I love like lace and stuff. I don't like white, but
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah, she
gorgeous
always
dress.
dressed like a star.
Right. Oh my gosh. I love her face paint when she was doing that everyone thought she was a witch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when she was the manager for Harlem Heat?
Yes.
Booker T dropped the N-bomb, and she's just like she's just laughing in the back.
Yeah.
Oh
That
boy.
clip,
She's
that
just like,
clip, man, yeah.
boy.
Booker T would got a little too into that promo.
Oh yeah.
And that happens. Sometimes you
It's
just get
stuck.
caught up in it.
What's stuck? Are we stuck? We're fine, right?
You
You
guys
guys see
can.
us?
Greg, are we going?
No, everything seems good
Apparently,
on.
yeah. As far on our end is good. I'm not sure if it's stuck on YouTube or what, but
D, are we looking
no.
all right?
Yeah, if anyone let us know because we look fine here on our end. But yeah, that was the episode. I enjoyed it. I haven't seen the other ones. I think there's one Gentleman Chris Adams is what this week's episode, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little behind.
This
Dark
one
Side.
is the Sandman.
Oh no, that already aired. Yeah,
Yeah,
next
Chris
week
Colt
it's
was done. I wasn't
yeah.
much for Chris Colt. I didn't really know who that was
Yeah,
anyway,
that's before
but
my
Jim
time.
and them went into it. That
He's
he was
the
so
main,
high
Like
one time on acid, I think,
seemed
or
bizarre.
LSD. I think he was on LSD, and he was going to go have a
Yeah,
cage
he
match
was in
with
a cage
someone,
match and he saw the
and
spiders.
he saw spiders coming.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
that's
that
the only
checks out.
that's the only time I
That's
heard of his
out.
name. It's like other than that, the tagline for the episode, the greatest wrestler you never heard of. I mean, he
Yeah.
was like
Right. Yeah, I never heard of Chris Colt.
mm,
I don't think there's pretty much anyone I'm interested in learning about. I didn't like the Sandman because I didn't like ECW. Sorry, guys, I didn't like
I
ECW.
like
oh shit.
the John Tenta one, the Earthquake one. That was probably my
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
watched
didn't
that
see that
one.
one, but that one I did hear about that on X
It was
when I
kind of a
wasn't being
sad thing
censored.
because after
I didn't know
wrestling,
about like how great of a sumo wrestler he was. Like, he was
yeah,
like
he
Mhm.
started out in
undefeated.
sumo. Yeah, he started
Yeah.
out in sumo before he started wrestling,
And then
and
he was member for that infamous.
Oh
oh, we
no.
lost Greg.
Hey.
ECW. We
D.
lost you, Greg. So if you want to boot back in, I'll let you back in. But yeah, I mean, the John Tenta story was kind of a sad one. He was diagnosed with cancer, but the
Oh
only reason
no.
why they didn't find him was because of they didn't find it because he didn't have insurance, and when he was wrestling, probably could have paid for any type of procedure or whatever. But he was a truck.
Sorry about that. I
That's
got an
okay.
Amber Alert and it knocked me off the stream.
Oh
Oh, those
no.
Amber Alerts are the
You get a
worst.
lot of these.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm on Rumble now and it's working fine. I don't. YouTube is still like kind of
YouTube is
frozen.
probably trying to censor us. Doesn't
We haven't
surprise
even
me at
started
all.
yet. We haven't even started yet.
I know.
That's the
Well,
YouTube
there's
link in the
yeah,
chat. I'm on. I'm looking at
that's the
Rumble now and
Rumble.
it's fine. So, but yeah, I mean that was the John Tenta story. I haven't
I
seen the
did.
Chris Adams story yet. Even
Mm.
though I always liked the story when he Chris Adams super kicked a bartender in Israel when they did that
Oh
tour
yeah.
and he popped
Because
his
he was
eye out.
drunk.
He popped his eye out. Oh yeah, he was a fine gentleman Chris Adams. But when he drank,
Mhm.
look
He
out.
was
I
a
mean, he
total
was
asshole.
yeah,
Yeah, I did see. I heard Jim Cornette talk about that one. I'm looking forward to hear his opinion on the Sherri one because he was in it.
yeah.
Obviously, the one thing I wish they would have stuck in there is that the interview with her in the white dress um, was when she was with Ted DiBiase, she was with Shawn Michaels, she was with Macho Man. um, she would ask their wives if it was okay for her to manage them. Now think about that for a second. So,
Mhm.
I mean, usually women were just, they were just managers and usually they weren't married to the people that they managed. Okay. Sherri was not married to any of the people that she managed. So it's kind of like a weird, I mean, it's very polite. She was very, very polite. And she had, morals that she came up with. And one of them was when she managed someone. So her and Elizabeth were actually best friends. That's she says that in the interview that they show her in the white dress. And she looks at Liz and says, Liz, I'm going to be managing Randy. Is that okay with you? And she said, Of course. I trust you. You're my friend. We're friends.
Okay. Okay, Andy. Yeah, because I went on the YouTube stream and it's fine.
Good deal.
So
Okay. So maybe they're just kind of freaked out for a second.
yeah, it was kind of an
Um,
issue, I guess.
but
But
I
yeah,
mean,
go ahead. Yeah, finish your
I'm
point.
sorry. So
No.
yeah, and she did the same thing with Ted DiBiase. His wife's name is Melody. So she went to Melody and said, Melody, do you mind if I manage your husband? And Melody was cool with it. Same with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels in 92 was married to a woman who's trying to be a nurse. I don't remember her name,
Yeah.
but Sherri said, I went up to her and I said, I'm going to be managing your husband. Is that all right with you? She was cool with it. So Sherri herself was just such a polite, wonderful person. And it just seems so sad that I mean, I actually shed a tear at the
Mhm.
end. I was just like, oh my God. And honestly, as a fan during that time, I loved to hate Sherri, but I
Yeah.
looked up to her. I looked up to her. I looked up to Elizabeth. I looked up to Rockin' Robin and also Joni Laurel, who also is not here. I
Yeah.
wanted to be just like them, but you know, things didn't work out that way. But
Mm.
I mean, those were women who actually knew how to wrestle. I didn't look up to Sable. I didn't look up to Sunny. I hated those people. And I hated every time they were on, I was just like turning it off.
Well, they were the ideal women of Vince McMahon. That's why they got
Right.
over.
And Vince
Yeah.
Russo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, those
Russo.
were the sugar babes, you know.
So yeah, that was Dark Side of the Ring. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'll watch the Sandman one. I didn't really care much for the Sandman, but
Yeah, I
maybe
wasn't
I'll
much for
check it out.
ECW.
Uh,
I'm
All I
still
maybe
know
I'll
is the
check it
Sandman
out.
would go like this and like break his head open. I'm like,
Bust himself open before his match started for no
yeah, I'm
reason.
like, oh, any moron can do that.
Uh,
Get in there and wrestle and shut up.
so yeah, I mean, let's get to AEW Dynasty, which was last Sunday, I believe it was, and I didn't watch it, but I watched the Osprey and Danielson match because
That's
everybody was
probably the only
creaming their
one.
pants over it.
Yep.
Everybody was creaming their pants over it in the IWC. What a great fucking match! It's match of the year, match of the
there were some pretty
decade.
outlandish statements.
Yeah.
The
No,
Yeah, it
real
was
the
pretty
match
bias
of
in
it
the
ever
wrestling
would be
community
probably
is
Bret Hart and
wild.
Kurt Hennig. You
yeah.
talk about
That
two great athletes that brought the house down at SummerSlam '91.
they immediately the first thing I see from AEW marks. It's better than Roman and Cody. I was like,
Oh, geez. No, it wasn't.
no,
So
well,
that just means they watched it, I guess. They watched Roman and Cody.
yeah, that Rustin.
Oh, we'll take the win, right?
Those marks
Do
they
they not
watched.
realize wrestling is about story, not about
No,
like cool
these
moves?
are
Like
no,
how
All
could
they
you
care
even
about are
compare
the
how can
people.
you even compare those two matches?
you
Like it's
can't.
crazy.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I called it a good wrestling exhibition. Is what it was. It was a good
Yeah,
match, but it
that
was
was
an
a good match.
exhibition. It was
It
an
had some things
exhibition
I
of
didn't
moves
like,
for no reason.
well,
like
and
Danielson getting dropped on his head multiple times. I hate
right.
seeing that after his
I'm
injury
like,
history.
I'm
Yep.
like the
Yeah.
the one spot I saw which stuck out was the spot where Danielson tried to do the Hurricanrana and landed on his back of his head.
Yeah, that looked
And
nasty, man.
and Osprey just flipped off, like, and he stood there like, "What? I'm a big star." And I know you're a moron because you
You're a
know who
moron.
does that spot.
You could have hurt that guy.
Yeah, you know who done
Ricochet
it. Who did
does
that
that
spot?
spot
Yeah,
perfectly,
Ricochet did that spot better.
Yeah.
and the guy doesn't land
Ricochet.
on his head.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's like that.
I'm about to say that's who does
And
that
then he
spot
does
better.
his Tiger Driver that always looks brutal.
That Tiger Driver looked like he killed him. Maybe he was selling at the end of the match, but he was
And then
like,
I don't like Will Ospreay's finisher. It seems
oh,
ridiculous.
it's so lame.
It seems ridiculous for the style of wrestler that he is.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
they always fuck up the camera shot where you can see it completely going over his head.
yeah.
Like
I'm not sure you know what his finisher is.
that's the
It's
second.
it
It's like a running back
his
elbow
opponent.
to the back of the
Yeah,
head.
it's a running back elbow to the back of the head. It's a cheap finish.
Well, I
You
think
It's always
can't even take a fucking bump for it. You just
no,
sit there and it's
no.
for
It's a
him
ridiculous.
finish.
It's bullshit. Yeah, it's like
and here's
And I
what
complained about that on Twitter and got yelled at for it. I don't
yeah, Jim Cornette was talking about it and he said, I mean, he actually called him Osprey, he didn't call him Ostrich. He said it was a
yeah,
good match. It
It was.
just, it wasn't
it
how
was.
he would book it.
Mm. There were too
But
many. There were too many high spots, and there were too many like bleh. Danielson
Bleh.
being dropped on his head.
Yeah.
Even though the moron had to retire because of concussions. Again, I call Danielson a moron because there's another. I think it was on
He doesn't
Rampage
like
or Collision.
nobody's there to save Danielson from himself. Like
Yeah,
that dude just
and the
went out there and
WWE.
like, yeah, I'll die. in
He
this ring.
married a
I
Bella
don't care.
twin. He
And
could
like I don't
he,
think he's
Yeah.
exaggerating. Like
he could be
No.
famous for the rest of his life and not even be in wrestling because he
He
married a
said-
Bella twin.
I think it was on Collision. He said, "I will die for this business if I have." And he's bleeding too, like a retard on fucking
But you're
on
not-
Collision.
You're not
Nobody's
a
watching
wrestler.
Collision.
like somebody save him from himself. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's
The
nobody
W-
there. Nobody in AEW says like, no, don't do this.
The WWE guy,
CM
WWE
Punk,
saved him,
CM Punk told people not to
Right.
do stuff and got
which
heat.
is
And
why he was forced out. But go
Right.
ahead.
And I think I speak for everybody and Jim Cornette when he says, fuck the world, fuck the match with Chris Jericho and Hook.
Oh, that's awful.
It was awful. And the fans were
Chris-
even chanting during the damn match.
Jericho
retire,
fucking
please.
copyrighted Jericho copyrighted
The
this
learning
stuff
tree.
like the Jericho Vortex. Like
In the
those are
learning tree.
Cornette. That's from the Cornette podcast.
Of
He
course.
just ripped
That's
off Jim
what Brian
Cornette.
Last and Cornette say. Like you get lost in the Jericho Vortex, and then he fucking copyrights that shit.
Of course he does, because they didn't trademark it fast
So
enough.
I mean, so Jericho's listening to Cornette, I guess.
He has to be listening to the show. He's a big
They all do.
listener. Because he's
He
like
probably
he's
hate
taking
watches
notes.
it.
Put him over.
He's taking notes like Jericho Vortex. I like that. Let me trademark that shit before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But I
Cornette
mean,
and
he just
Brian have
said,
been saying
"Fuck
that for
every,
months.
fuck the world and fuck this match." And I was just like, "Yep, that's exactly what probably Cornette would thought of it."
He's killing off Hook like really quickly. I mean, it's like he killed off nearly anybody else he's worked with.
Maybe Hook's going to WWE.
That's what everybody says, that this is his last like story, and then he's fucking off to NXT. Which if I were him, if I were his father, Taz, like
Take it.
go to WWE, go.
Yeah.
I mean, sign there
They will
immediately.
do better things with you, and you
Yeah.
won't have to bend the
There was
knee
a
for
time
Chris
where
Jericho.
Hook was actually like a real, he was, people were.
He had a following in the indie scene. The fans were going when he debuted, like he had a big pop. I mean,
Yeah, and they did.
He had a unique. And it did nothing with him. He stuck him with Danhausen.
Yeah,
Let me
man,
curse
like,
you. I curse you.
They could have built him up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they
and then they stuck him with Orange Cassidy, I think. And then now he's
Brian Last
working with
hates that dude.
Jericho.
Then the Jericho Vortex.
Brian Last hates Orange Cassidy. He can't wait
so
till
does
he
Jim
gets off
Cornette.
of TV.
Sucks.
It's like-
all his matches are the same. He just does a bunch of variations of a DDT, and then he does
It's cheap.
He does his stupid.
Jeez.
I got a bot in the
all the
chat.
same.
Yeah, it's garbage.
It sucks.
So yeah, Hook needs to get away from AEW. He's done there. Yeah, Jericho already beat him for that fake belt.
He's got too much potential to be wasted away.
Yeah, especially in AEW.
He needs to get away from Tony Khan and Chris Jericho.
And put some meat on them bones, boys.
In WWE, I guarantee you he's going to, they're going to, have him do a routine, to gain more muscle. Just like it did with Brian Pillman Jr. He's bigger now.
Yep. I'm so glad he has success.
He's really good as Lexus King. Like, he's a good heel, it's like, he has personality. He didn't show any personality in AEW. I'm like, where does personality come from?
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was a part of the Varsity Blues, I think, that tag team. He was that other guy. He was in a tag team.
It was like the lowest of the low.
Yeah, he was like he was like low card. They barely used him.
A jobber tag team.
Yeah, he's part of jobber tag. That's a good way to put it. Then that's that, that was that match. What other matches happened on that card?
Yeah, all I remember
the Bucks.
The Bucks who it was
the Bucks won the tag title. Oh, Jungle Jack off his back. We'll get to Wednesday,
Jack Barry.
Yeah, we'll get to Wednesday, but Jungle Jack off helped the Young Bucks win the tag titles. They beat FDR again. I mean, FDR's dead anyways, but
there was a time they were really hot too. And
yeah, they're dead. Young Bucks killed them off, and they let themselves get killed off.
Yeah,
and now
Dax
is losing his mind on Twitter, blocking everybody.
Dax is actually hurt already. He has a concussion from that match.
Oh, well, he's fucked himself in that match. I wouldn't be surprised.
MJF, isn't he still hurt?
Yes, I was reading something. No, I was reading something on Twitter from somebody saying that he was trying to do rehab and it didn't work, and now he's going to go for surgery allegedly, which he's going to be out for months.
I think he filmed a movie too.
Yeah, during that time.
That's the best thing for him at this point. Either that or hop to NXT.
Tony,
because they're not going to do shit with you. You were supposed to be the devil and the top heel, and now you're basically hurt and shit.
He was a baby face the last 3 months.
Oh, he was a baby face. Okay,
which
he was supposed to be the top heel.
It was awful. Him and Adam Cole did these ridiculous skits, and it was like, what the? Where's the heel MJF?
I don't know where MJF. I guess he's not going to be in any of the plans on this ongoing story they're doing in AEW now with Tony Khan.
He's
because I don't see where MJF fits in with that at all.
MJF needs to stay away from that story.
And Swerve becoming the champion. I mean, come on, guys. Who is Swerve anyway? I mean, he
was a WWE guy.
He was a WWE guy, and
he
now
was an NXT. He was
they're pushing him briefly. For what reason?
He's probably the second most popular baby.
He's popular, but they're going to kill him off. Not than
MJF's
MJF.
not around anymore. He shouldn't be.
Yeah, he's probably the top baby face, even though it makes no sense.
Osprey and Swerve were probably their two top baby faces.
He's a
I
baby
mean,
face.
Jim was
Giving
saying,
Swerve
okay,
the belt
I
makes
mean,
sense, but they're just gonna fuck him over, and he's a
yeah, that's what Jim was
champion.
saying. Okay, I guess, but I mean, they're just gonna, screw him over in the end.
I don't mean to jump ahead, but like just the way they used him on Wednesday, they basically used him for an angle to tell a story about Kyle Fletcher. Like he was used in an angle to like Kyle lost, and now the Don Callis family is going to get rid of him. So Swerve, the world champ, was used in a preliminary match to help Kyle Fletcher tell his story. Like all the
like I said on Twitter or X or even on a YouTube comment or some other
he
show.
Didn't get to talk or anything.
No, like I said on a YouTube comment on somebody else's video. He's going to be undermined because right now the main angle is what they did in the end of the show on Wednesday. Yeah. That's their main angle. It's not Swerve being the champion.
Not even.
And he's going to be undermined. He'll drop the belt to Osprey, and then Osprey will be the push at the top. They'll reinvest in the world title again because
he'll be
Tony
Khan. WCW. He'll be the head of Team WCW against the NWO or whatever the hell this.
I was like,
or whatever the hell this is.
What are you talking about?
But yeah,
I
think it's gonna be like I think a bunch of more people are gonna join the Elite.
Yeah, it's gonna be the NWO
because that's where the Young Bucks are, and they suck.
They're gonna try to copy what worked, and it's gonna be a complete parody of it. It's gonna be hilarious.
Parody. It's a parody.
I'm entertained by it. I am entertained by it, but for all the wrong reasons.
I'm making fun of it.
It's gonna be epic. Like I hope Tony's on TV every week, fucking doing dumb shit, saying acting like an idiot,
having himself in a neck brace at the NFL draft. What the fuck was that all about, dude? No wonder your Jaguars suck. Your Jaguars haven't won a Super Bowl.
You know what pisses me off? Tony was finally starting to get like
buzz.
Like his critics were finally like, "Oh yeah, he's doing." Like I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, wear the neck brace." You know what I mean? I was glad he did that.
I thought he.
Then
I thought so too.
Shits on WWE. Bro, like
on the NFL network
watches WWE. Like you're shit talking a good chunk of your audience whenever you shit on WWE. Like.
Not to mention they're doing way better ratings than you would ever do.
You're trying to like do all this for this little niche audience you have.
Right.
And it's like you're alienating the majority of your audience so you can get high fives by all the weirdos.
From the IWC and from Dave Meltzer.
The people who watch Rampage, basically. The Rampage watchers. Like that's who he's like catering to, and it's like, dude, like you were finally starting to get some mainstream publicity. People are like, okay, yeah, I'm here. Let's see how this plays out, and then you go and do that, man. It's like
he killed off his angle, and then we'll get to that. But what happened? Toni Storm retained her title. Whatever, who gives a shit? She beat who did she beat?
Julia.
Oh, Willow beat Julia. Oh, we'll get to when. Well, did you see Mercedes Moné's promo?
I thought it was the best one yet.
No, it was.
That's not saying much, but at least she's acting like a heel finally.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was wooden, and she sounded like it was.
She's not good. She's not a good talker. But at least
she was hurt. Why would she lose to Willa, or why would she win just to lose? I thought it was funny
how she outstaged her. Like she came out and got right in front of the hard cam and did a little dance. Like I thought that was good heel work. You know what I mean? So
she did a little stripper dance.
I'm glad her character's going in the right direction, but she shouldn't talk as much.
She did a little stripper dance, and she did the same thing on Wednesday. Her whatever that is, her stripper dance, and then
she did in WWE.
Yeah, which is basically it's pretty much the same character.
That's a Vince thing, I guess.
The rings on the fingers, it's the same. The same.
Except
dance.
She calls herself Mercedes Moné.
Keebler did her little stripper dance in front of Vince.
Yeah,
it was. Did you guys see that on X?
Yeah. I mean, that's a famous segment because obviously Vince booked himself to do that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
he didn't jack off in the middle of it.
Thunder, she beat. Toni Storm beat.
I know. I'm sorry. Forget that. What I said.
Toni Storm beat Thunder Rosa. Let's. They united the six-man tag titles in the pre-show. Who cares? I mean, they imagine people are like the AEW wasted Jay White, and Jay White was a huge star in New Japan. He was the champion, and look what they do with him in AEW. He's like he's a 6-man tag champion, and it's like did that nothing with him.
I don't want to give AEW creative too much of the benefit of the doubt, but it did look like in that stupid match they did that nobody explained that for the Intercontinental or the international title, that little gauntlet match they were doing, they did have Ospreay and Jay White kind of face off. So I wouldn't mind.
Wasn't that the one with it was like no DQ, falls count anywhere?
I don't know what the match was. It was like people just started coming out. And it wasn't announced.
Battle Royal.
I was gonna say because Jim Cornette was talking.
I think it was a gauntlet, like
for no reason.
What it was.
Gauntlet match, kind of like they did with Austin.
Ospreay and Jay White were in it, and Ospreay won it, and he won a title shot against Roderick Strong. Which,
that's so stupid.
Going for a mid-card
what are they
title,
doing with
him? I don't know why Ospreay's going in that direction. But
why is he going for the international title?
He did have a face-off with Jay White, and I wouldn't mind seeing that match.
Yeah. Why is he going for I'm about to say Intercontinental international title?
Oh, nope.
I know. I said it too.
Yeah, it's like why is he going for that title?
Match. Roddy and Ospreay will put on a good match.
What are they gonna do? They're not gonna beat Will Ospreay. What are they gonna do? No. Put that meaningless belt on him for no reason?
The best case scenario, I think the United Kingdom comes out and like jumps him and shit, and because I don't want Ospreay with that belt. Like,
no, he doesn't need that belt
for him, unless you want to try to elevate a mid-card title. But like, I don't know if Ospreay's the right guy to do that with. Like Ospreay's your top babyface. Like you need to push to the moon right now.
So what else happened on that stupid pay-per-view? I don't remember.
That was pretty much it.
Well, I mean, and like I said, Jim Cornette was talking about it, and he the one with the no DQ, no false count anywhere, nothing, no rules, lazy booking.
Oh, that 6-man tag.
Yeah, I mean that's
with Edge.
With Edge, yeah. I mean, it literally made no sense.
Mark Briscoe. They had
Mark
Briscoe, man. They could have made.
They have really, that's what Jim was saying. Jim was saying that they really are screwing Mark Briscoe. He's like, I haven't seen him do
company, man. They had something with him.
He was over because of his brother's death, and they had something with him.
And they were just happy to see him finally get a chance. You know what I mean? And he just went straight to Rampage.
It's like Rampage, Ring of Honor. You're the Ring of Honor World Champion. Here, Mark.
But Mark Briscoe's not the kind of guy that's going to politics.
Here, now we're going to book you in all these shitty matches and stuff.
And what the hell is Edge doing in this match with the House of Black? Like, what is he? Why is he?
House of Black?
They're getting ready for a Malachi Black Edge feud. Which I'm fine with Malachi Black being in a single.
And Malachi Black's gonna fuck off back to WWE.
It sucks though. Like they had something with.
Who was he in WWE?
He was Aleister Black in WWE.
Oh,
he's a Triple H guy.
I just like when Jim Cornette goes, the House of Black.
Yeah, because they're.
Yeah, but that's how they've been booked.
Yeah, they've been booked as meaningless.
That's what he was trying to say. He was trying to say, I mean, this was just shitty booking.
They got there.
It was lazy booking.
House of Black goes away for months. Like Aleister Black or Malachi, whatever his name is now, goes away for months. He doesn't come back. And then he comes back. He does some little bit of wrestling. And he goes away again. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with his contract, but I'm sure that he's looking to go back to WWE. Because Triple H is booking.
I think they signed he signed a 5-year deal. I think he's there for a while.
Well, if he is, he's fucked because I don't do anything with him.
Absolutely nothing.
I mean,
and you can't call him Edge.
You know what I mean?
It's a good, but his career is not going anywhere.
I mean, no offense. Edge was I wasn't into Edge, so I don't really think he never really got much past mid card at best.
But
yeah, when I stopped watching and I found out that he was the world champion, I was surprised. I was like, "Damn, they're pushing Edge like that," because he was just like a tag team guy with Christian when I was.
He became like a 10-time world champion. I mean, they
crazy.
Really pushed him.
Edge really got himself over way more than I thought he would.
And then when he came back to WWE for this run, he was a part-timer. He's a legend. He's special when he came back. Like, holy shit, Edge is back. Great. What are you going to do now?
I didn't really like that run.
Yeah, just like Sting.
Edge really never did it for me, I guess, because I didn't really like his return.
It was special. It felt special. That Judgment Day, his version, that was awful. With the with the I'm the mind of omnipotence. I can't even say the word.
The mountain of omnipotence.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's like
his promos are a little ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's like it's overscripted. He was finding words in the thesaurus. Like
the right word.
What are we saying? What are we saying?
We should go get Kid Cabello. Kid Cabello has a thesaurus.
I guess he get those guys over.
Yeah, he did.
Rhea's world champ.
So. He was supposed to last longer in the Judgment Day, but
I don't know how much credit you can give to Edge for that, but
yeah, he was briefly. He was
world champ.
He was very brief. His rant.
I just like the Christian thing. He like basically hugs him and then he goes, "Go fuck yourself." Sorry, that's like my favorite right there.
Yeah, what happened to like Christian and like Luchasaurus? I haven't seen them on TV in a while.
Christian went away after he dropped the TNT title. He hasn't been on TV since.
That's right. Yeah.
And Luchasaurus hasn't been either, and neither has Nick Wayne, whatever that and his mom. They haven't been on TV since. Thank God, because he was definitely Nick Plain, as Jim Cornette called him.
Yeah,
he's way too young. He's like 18. What is he? 18 years old. He's on television. He shouldn't be on television. Man. That's somebody you sign and put in developmental.
Yeah, he needs to go to promo school.
Yeah,
like an OVW would benefit a guy like Nick Wayne, but I mean he's so fucking small. I don't know how much you can even push.
Yeah, Tony just puts all these guys on television instead of saying, "Look, I need a performance center. I need
Darby's
developmental."
Friend, it's all friends wrestling.
Yeah, like I need something.
A guy that wants a job,
And Tony's like, "Hey, let's hire my friend." Like, "Oh, okay, sure. How much money does he want?" "Oh, okay, well, I'll pay him right now that exact amount. No negotiation."
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Angel. I honestly, all I want to do is like talk about the Jon Moxley thing.
I'm gonna get to Wednesday.
I know.
Because pay-per-view's
I'm
over.
at the bit because I heard it on Cornette. Yeah. I told Angel this, Greg, that every time Cornette comes out with the experience or something. And then I'm done. I'm finished. I've listened to everything I can listen to. He comes out with you do this to me, Cornette, to punish me. So I'm like listening to I had to go to Walmart today or my family was going to starve. And like literally I'm listening in the car to Jim Cornette's newest YouTube thing about the no audio and on Dynamite, which we will get to.
Yeah. That production thing is just...
How does that happen, man? On national
Wednesday.
television. The whole fucking show.
Tony at AEW, or at least AEW fans, are blaming TBS for that mistake.
I mean, Tony kind of low-key blamed TBS. But, I mean, like, how does TBS, they sandbagged him, man? Like, they didn't even try to fix it.
If they did do it, they sandbagged him. If they did do it, which I don't believe, I'm not sure I believe, but let's say they did do it, they sandbagged him. Because there's no way that that mistake happens at the entire show.
If that's an NBA game, that shit don't
there's
go
no way.
The whole NBA
no game. Fucking way. The WBD's trying to desperately trying to resign.
There and lay like a bitch and take it.
He'll take it, yeah. You don't have to fix it. And the NBA,
he might even give us the money to go long again.
Yeah, the NBA,
they're paying for that every time they go 5 minutes over.
He's such a moron. He's such a moron. Yeah. Just format your show.
A fake spike in his ratings.
Just format the fucking show so you go to 2 hours. There's no reason why you need.
No, he pays for that to get like an extra 40,000 that people thought the other show was going to be on and wrestling was still on, and they just wait for it to end and they get extra 40,000-50,000 onto their average.
Yeah, but is that guaranteed
for that?
From the network?
Because people watch what they're looking for that movie. So it's like
people too. It's like, all right, wrestling's over.
Okay, wrestling. I'll leave it here 5 minutes, whatever.
Well, you guys saw the ratings for this. Was it Dynamite?
Yeah,
it was the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, especially for that.
They got no lead in. Like, I don't know.
The show Big Bangers,
They started at like 750,000, and I've never seen that. They usually start around 900,000.
Yeah, about 9, and that's from the Big Bangers
at all.
So even the people didn't like Big Bang or anything.
They made sure to change that channel fucking quick.
Yeah, as soon as they saw the Bucks, because the Bucks opened that fucking show.
Right, and
the Bucks opened the show this week.
The Young Bucks and Orange Cassidy opened the show.
Right.
What the hell is Tony thinking?
And people were like, "Nope, I'm out of here." Fuck it.
We try to tell them. Nobody wants to see Orange Cassidy open the fucking show. Not even the people that like Orange Cassidy.
Well, now that we're talking about Dynamite,
Yeah.
I have to talk about the fact that Brian Last and Jim Cornette were talking about the whole thing. All they heard was from Moxley was fuck the dead man. Fuck, he's a dead man. That's all they heard
the whole night.
I'm assuming that was his opponent for the night.
Yeah, whoever it was.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, and fucking Hobbs got hurt, man. He fucking tweaked his knee.
Yeah,
of course.
Stupid match where he's
in a match with fucking Ospreay.
All I kept thinking was when they talked about Jon Moxley, I'm like, what do you do? Kiss another guy?
Nah, just hurt someone.
No, of course.
He just hurt
because he doesn't know how to wrestle. Why can't he just stay Dean Ambrose? What the hell? Show. Why didn't he stay in WWE?
They didn't want him.
They didn't want him. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair.
He wanted to wrestle garbage matches, and they weren't going to let him do that and embarrass the company.
So real quick, I just want to go over the Goldberg comments just really, really quick.
Okay.
So Goldberg apparently was asked by, somebody. I forgot now who.
Just some, I don't remember.
It was a podcast, and they asked him, "Would you ever go to AEW?" And he was like, "No, I couldn't even look myself in the mirror." And I said, "Okay, I agree with you, but this is Rich coming from a guy who literally had 3 moves that he did.
He's a mark for himself,
right?
He started talking
like
Goldberg,
and he literally
Goldberg
hurt guys.
Would never be on a show like. He started becoming a mark for himself. I heard that shit.
Yeah.
It's like Goldberg can't be on a show like that. Like, dude, fucking, you're not. This ain't the 90s, bro. Like, just go make your money.
Yeah, this ain't the 90s. But I agree with him about AEW though. Like,
it is cheesy.
He said it was cheesy, and
he would stick out like a sore thumb on that show.
And he couldn't look himself in the mirror after saying, "I actually went in AEW and performed for them."
He's looking for that. He's fishing for a final match. But he's like, will you go to AEW for?
I think he still wants to go to WWE.
Yeah, he wants that
that's
last
where
match.
It is.
That's now that where Vince is gone and there's new people, and maybe he can finesse another match
even
out of
Jesse.
TKO.
That I just want to briefly say, Jesse Ventura's been putting out the rumor mills that he might come back, and I kept thinking, as what? Maybe a commentator, but he's way too old to wrestle. But when I talk to Jesse, honestly, I don't think he's.
I don't even know if he can sit still for 2 hours.
Yeah, he's not.
But there is a role for Jesse. I remember this when WWE signed their new contract with USA for SmackDown. There's in that contract there's quarterly specials on NBC. For every quarter. Yeah, every quarter they go on NBC. So my guess that Jesse's gonna end up on that show.
So wrestling is gonna be back on network television?
Yeah, it's back on NBC.
What?
And that's what they
I love that.
Remember, that's why he had to be on Saturday night's main event because NBC wanted Jesse.
They wanted Jesse.
They wanted Jesse and Vince, but they would not give Vince the contract without Jesse. Yeah,
so Jesse, he had to go back to Jesse begrudgingly. Hey, you want to come
back? He hated that. Hey, guy that tried to unionize my locker room.
Yeah,
now I have to bring him back.
And I fired on the spot because Hogan stooged me.
We're cool, right?
We're cool, right?
Oh yeah, I'll come back, Vince. Got me more money.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Got me more money.
He ended up firing him anyway.
Yeah, and also I got to do the Running Man. Good luck, I got to do the Running Man. So with Schwarzenegger.
Fucking Dynamite was a mess this week, but it was at least entertaining.
Yeah, it was a mess.
How could you get over the no audio or the audio just sucking? Honestly, it's...
Well, so I don't mind Jon Moxley being fucking tuned out. I mean, some of those people I really don't want to hear from.
I mean, you could hear the crowd sometimes. Sometimes you couldn't even hear the wrestlers.
Clusterfuck, man. The whole episode was a clusterfuck, and it was hilarious.
And Tony Khan's like, it was TBS, or, they had something to do with it. No, it's in the production truck. Either someone didn't hit a button or they went, "Fuck you, Tony Khan," and took out the audio.
And Tony didn't.
TBS just airs the show. They have nothing to do with their audio.
Maybe it was the venue, but you think they'd know how to wire sound for Daily's Place? They've done it.
Yeah, they own Daily's Place. The company owns Daily Place.
Because you could hear an echo. You could tell it was like an open air arena.
Yeah, it was really a bad production of wrestling, and they acted like amateurs out there.
Maybe maybe Tony and his was too focused on the draft and.
That's
the
what
Cons. The Cons own Daily Place. It's right next to their Jaguar Stadium. So
yep.
So they know how to wire that.
It
But
was
you
their
hear
home
about all
turf.
kind. Remember when the Jaguars didn't pay their DirecTV bill and all the TVs in the stadium were call this number and so I mean there's just a bunch of weird shit associated.
That's amateur.
It's always something with there's always little things
And no
Trevor
offense,
Lawrence
but
having to
when's the
walk
last
off
time
a
the
torn
Jaguars won the
ACL.
Super Bowl? Have the
Never.
Jaguars ever won a Super Bowl?
No, they've come close a couple
They've
times.
come
Okay,
close.
I rest my case. Come back when you
Yeah.
have 6 like
But
the
the
Steelers,
Cons,
baby.
the Cons haven't owned the
Steelers.
Jaguar the whole time.
Hey,
though,
watch it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just amateur hour over there with the Cons. And all right, so what else happened? Let's see. We talked about Swerve and how they buried him. Dean Ambrose or John Moxley is more important, obviously. The IWGP title is more important.
Yeah, that main evented the show.
That main evented the show, so it's obviously more important.
One thing about this show is they did at least have a thread of story throughout the show. Because I wanted to see.
Who could hear it?
I wanted to see Tony Khan in the ring with Jungle Boy because I knew it was going to happen. I was like,
yeah, that was the main event. That was the final segment.
It's like everything. You knew it. You could all see it happening. I was like, this is going to be.
It was the main event segment. Jungle Boy and
Tony Khan booked himself in the main event over his new crown Black World Champion.
Yeah. He booked himself over the Black World Champion, and
he booked Swerve in a match to tell a story for an angle
about Kyle Fletcher. Some fucker haven't won a match since October on television.
I was gonna say who was a jobber, right?
Man.
Yeah, he hasn't won a match since October on AEW television.
Yeah. Jim Cornette was talking about that.
And he wrestled a girl this weekend.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
He took a Canadian destroyer by Sky Blue this past
Why would he
weekend.
allow that to be filmed?
And then he wrestled as world champ.
And if you want to play around with a girl in the ring, that's fine. Don't film it. No, don't put it on the internet like you just buried yourself.
I mean, Omega had the decency to not film the 9-year-old girl wrestling. The 9-year-old girl that Omega wrestled, he was smart enough not to film that.
I think that was fucking Riho, actually. The 9-year-old girl was Riho.
Really?
It was?
I feel bad for Riho.
I think I've heard that before.
I mean, if we could just talk about Omega.
I'm starting to like Kenny, though, man. Kenny's being real, finally.
Okay, he's real like a baby
on his stream.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, man. He wrestled a 9-year-old girl. He wrestled a 9-year-old. He's part of that pedophile ring that he was talking about.
Omega's coming back next week on Dynamite too.
I feel like Kenny's gay. I don't really feel like he's fucking around with little girls.
He might be aware of it,
but I think Kenny likes dudes.
I don't think so. I think I looked up and I think he's straight.
I don't know about that, but
oh, good. We're gonna see it. By the way, can I just say a little tip for all these people trying to interview Kenny Omega? Do not interview Kenny Omega when he's trying to play a video game. The dude can't put two thoughts together.
Yeah, so this is Omega on his stream. I'm pretty sure
he's talking about. Shut the game off. Shut the game off, Kenny.
He's talking about Roman Reigns here. So
yeah.
No. Well, I'm not going to accept any Roman Reigns slander in this chat. I really think he's incredible. And I don't think he's boring either. I think I actually would say that I'm pretty jealous because Roman Reigns is presented the exact same way that I would love to be presented. He's presented as the man who's the champion to have big matches at the pay-per-views where you're either really cheering for him or you're cheering for someone else. That's professional wrestling. So he's getting to do what I did in New Japan. So I can't be a hater on that. I'm a fan.
He's getting to do what I did in New Japan.
You know his fans hated to fucking hear that too.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about it other than he's like, oh well, I wish I had been pushed like that. Well, first of all, Kenny, you'd have to have some talent.
He was kind of shitting on the company. He was kind of shitting on
he low-key buried Tony Khan.
Yeah. Stars. They don't know how to tell stories.
They're not going to take him back now, baby. He's like,
well, he's coming back next week on television.
Supposedly.
Yeah, he's gonna get involved in this mess.
He's gonna get involved in that an elite angle, but he's coming back to television. But yeah, he kind of buried.
Tony's gonna end up siding with the Bucks like Bischoff did with the NWO.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah,
Shad Khan is gonna be a part of this.
Tony Khan is trying to
the old man
recreate the WCW and the NWO.
What if
So
Shad comes in there?
distracted.
What if Shad comes in there and cuts a promo saying, "I regret giving my son this money. I regret this fucking company, and I'm gonna fucking fix it." And he puts a stable together of guys to take down his son's group.
That's what he needs to do
Maybe
right
he can
now.
even get Jinder Mahal in there. Like I'm saying, man, there's a lot of things you could do with this.
There's
a lot of things.
Right.
Like if they play their cards right, they could
But
actually
it's already
maybe
been done. I mean,
garner some attention with this story.
Yeah, I know it's been done, but it's if Tony doesn't fuck this up,
if
it could
it's
be
done
something.
right,
okay,
people will watch this because it's gonna be a fucking train wreck.
And it's gonna be a clusterfuck. But it's like the big car crash. You're gonna turkey neck.
It's two dogs fucking on the side of the road.
Yeah, you're gonna turkey neck and look.
Say.
Yeah, you're gonna turkey neck and look, even if it's a clusterfuck train wreck.
I'm glad they're finally trying to do something outside of the box. And
but
I'm gonna watch next week to see what happens.
Yeah,
so,
I'm
usually pretty tough on them, but I'm actually kind of interested in this.
I
can't lie. I don't like who's involved. I wish the Young Bucks weren't a central character in this.
Let's get to that segment because I want to talk about Tony selling or lack of or piss poor selling. Did you see? So here they go out. Jungle Boy, the Jungle Jackoff cuts a promo, talking about how he loves AEW, how he's gonna change the world. Tony's like, I love you, Jack. He looks stupid, of course. Then they shake hands, and Tony's like this, and then he hits him with the microphone in his gut.
That's exactly what Scott Hall did to Eric Bischoff. That's how before Kevin Nash powerbombed him. Scott Hall did the gut punch with the microphone.
Again, they're trying to redo something that was done 30 years ago.
They're trying real hard, man.
They're trying real hard to bring back
a parody
all the plot.
It's a parody of what Hall and Nash did in '96.
Only it wasn't a power bomb. It was a Tony Khan driver.
Yeah, so he got hit in the gut, but he sells it as a clothesline. Like he takes a bump, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like
and
you
then
should
3
usually
seconds later
bend over.
And then 3 seconds later, he remembers I got to sell the gut punch, and then you
get hit in the gut, you bend over, and you sell that, not take a bump. He laid there for like 5 seconds.
Bischoff sold it right. Bischoff sold it right. Got right in the position for the powerbomb.
Yeah. That's right. But I think the thing is, it was right for the 90s. It's not so right now to do whatever the hell he's trying to do to recreate it. Don't recreate something that's already been done because it may not get over right now. And you don't know what the fans think. I mean, you can barely get people in.
The crowd in the stadium was not really making a lot of noise when it was going on.
It was dead.
They were just all kind of sitting there like, what the fuck is this?
They're trying to recreate something because they're trying to be edgy.
Like in shock.
Tony is like,
he's jumped the shark.
Then the Young Bucks and Okada come out and they're like, no, what are you doing? Don't attack. He's the I think one of the Bucks said, he's a billionaire. You don't attack billionaires. Trying to make a joke out of it. It's like, dude, this is a serious angle you're filming, and you're making a joke out of it. Morons.
That's what they do.
Anyways, they didn't attack Bischoff because he was a billionaire. They attacked Bischoff because he was he sort of was the establishment, but he was with WCW.
It was the sign that they were taking over.
Right, and it was like a tradition. They were thumbing their nose at tradition. Yeah, that's what the NWO did. This is something else. This is something completely different. And then they're not going to get it over. But I do want to say the neck brace thing, he could be doing what Andy Kaufman did.
He is. It's a parody of what he did.
He wore the neck brace.
Right.
It's a parody
because
of what he did.
Andy wore it everywhere. He wore it on set. He wore it to a hospital. He wore it out when he was out and about or doing, when they did was it Larry King? No, not Larry King.
Letterman, wasn't it?
Yeah, when
they did that was when Lawler slapped him.
And Lawler slapped him, but he had the neck brace on to keep kayfabe.
That was like even in the newspapers that he broke his neck.
Right.
That's
called keeping kayfabe. So what exactly is Tony trying to keep kayfabe about? I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to keep kayfabe about. Again, today there is no kayfabe.
Well, there still can be.
There can be.
But
can be.
I have such a low standard for Tony that I gave him credit for this. I was like, good. Sell the injury, get it over during the draft. Like, this was smart. It was just fucking dumb to say that shit about WWE. Like this was going perfect. Like everything was going perfect.
Hey,
like you get news articles written about it. Like they were talking about it on the
NFL Network.
Draft.
They were making fun of him though.
And rightfully so. But
the
he was
NFL
trying
Network
to
making fun of him though.
Right, he was trying to do what the Andy Kaufman did.
Yeah. He was like Tony Khan,
my
blah,
neck.
blah.
He was
and
doing
one
the
of his
Mel
co-hosts
Kiper impression.
one of his co-hosts, one of
he
Pat
does a good Mel
McAfee's friends were like, well, it'd be if you broke your neck, why you're like moving it like
you can't
this?
be moving around.
Yeah, so they kind of buried
he can't
Tony's
even keep kayfabe when he's trying to keep kayfabe.
No, I know. But let's
you failed.
give little Tony a little bit of credit.
Let's give
he's
the segment.
Bless his heart, the man is trying.
So the Bucks try to get Tony up. They tease doing their finish with that double knees to his head.
Yeah, they did do
which
that.
is stupid. They didn't do it. Then Okada looked around and did this or something, and then they set him up for what, the Meltzer driver? What the hell that move's called?
It's now the Tony Khan driver.
Okay, so and they flipped, and yet why is Maddie or whoever that was, Nikki, flipping like
that?
That's
just
for
unnecessary.
No reason. That move would be more brutal if they just jumped off normally. And
Tony Khan was sitting there in Matt Jackson's crotch, so happy, like this is
my
dream. I'm finally taking
Tony.
a bite. Like he was so happy.
I'm sure Tony
was fucking smiling when he was laying on the ring cell, and you could see a fucking smile in his face. Like it was like fucking Okada granting a Make-A-Wish to 4 kids, letting them play wrestling for a night. It was like
he took a bump.
He finally took a bump. That these guys are so small and like not believable, but it's gonna be hilarious.
So they're trying to be the NWO. So I want to. I looked up the weights of these people. So let's go. Let's start with the original NWO. Scott Hall was 6'7", 287 pounds at the time he did that angle.
Him and Kevin Nash were the outsiders.
Hogan was 6'7", 302 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
Nash was 7 foot, 328 pounds. At the time, they're all huge, grown men
the big
wrestlers.
Boys play, baby.
Yeah.
Play with themselves. No, I'm joking. I love the NWO.
Yeah. So let's get to Matt Jackson. He's 5'10", 172 pounds. I'm bigger than Matt Jackson.
I'm bigger than Matt Jackson.
He's not.
Nick Jackson.
That's
Nick
and
Jackson.
I'm a woman.
Nick Jackson is 5'10", 167 pounds.
I'm bigger than him.
I'm bigger than him.
So that's one Kevin Nash.
That's one Kevin Nash right there.
Matt Jack. Wait. That's Jungle Jack Perry. I forgot who's Jack. Is like Jungle Jack. He's 5'10", 167 pounds. I'm bigger than him by 50 pounds.
I'm bigger than him by 50 pounds as well.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot 200.
Yeah, and Nick Jackson is 5'10",
and I don't think I could be a wrestler.
178. So that's the difference. These guys are small, and they're never going to get this over. And they can't.
It looks like a Make-A-Wish segment.
Yeah,
to be honest, I am losing weight. That's my thing.
I feel like I'm
lost
like weight.
14 pounds.
Tony Khan. I saw this somewhere, so I'm not sure how true this is. But Tony Khan is 5'8", 159 pounds, according to what I saw. And
he's got some big ass feet, though. Did you see those fucking clown shoes he had on?
Yeah, and it's like
Tony. Tony
his
might be
pants.
packing. He had some big ass clown shoes on. When he was sitting there up in that fucking pile driver, you could just see his big old clown feet fucking behind Matt Jackson's head.
So Tony.
I guess he doesn't have to compensate, does he, Greg?
Yeah, fucking good for Tony, man.
So
maybe he'll have the courage to talk to a lady one day.
Maybe. But Tony took the Meltzer driver, or Tony driver, whatever. Then all the the referees start coming out, and they're saying, "What the fuck? What the hell are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And then the Elite leave the ring.
I have a theory because why this lingered. I feel like the John Moxley Powerhouse Hobbs match had to go short because of the injury.
Yeah,
and so this segment ended early, and there was nobody in the back to be like, "Go do this, go do that." So Tony was the one that would be directing traffic in a situation like that, and he was sitting there selling on the mat. So I think that's why it took so long for the baby faces and everything to run out. And
so the baby faces
looked like they were stalling a little bit.
Yeah,
the baby faces all pop out. I don't know who any of them are, by the way.
I think I saw Lee Johnson there, so he's still around.
So all the baby faces come out
when Shad Khan came out.
Okay. Oh, okay. Except that I don't know any of them. Why not have Swerve come out? Why not have the top guys come out?
Yeah, it was
make
like
this a big
it was
deal.
the jobber of all jobber crew.
Yeah, it's like why have
I don't know if
Swerve?
he's paying for his spot, but he wanted to be. Tony Khan reminds me of Vince Russo. You know how Vince Russo wanted to be in the spotlight? He wanted to be on the wrestling program, and then he also wanted to be the champion, so he made himself the champion.
Yeah, he was.
That's what Tony Khan reminds me of, and that's like douchebaggery for me.
He's entering that territory for sure right now.
Quickly. I guarantee you, he's gonna be a big part of this
angle. After saying repeatedly that he never would, but
which
I'm
is a
here
lie.
for it, man. He's cringe on a comedic level. Like I love when Tony Khan is talking and has a microphone because it's so bad.
It's gonna be
so bad. It's good.
It's worse.
Yeah,
it's worse than Dixie Carter from TNA. I mean, it's
worse.
It's gonna be worse.
It's
gonna be worse than
because
Dixie Carter.
He thinks he's a wrestler, but he's never been a wrestler, so he wouldn't know how to do a promo off the top of his head. And like I said last week, I thought Roddy Piper did all his promos off the top of his head because I was oh, dude, stay off the coke, seriously. Because he would just literally just say the most outlandish stuff you ever thought of. Right?
They're great.
He actually wrote it down. He actually wrote that shit down.
That's crazy. That's a genius.
Yes,
a genius.
So the jobber crew,
especially his line in the movie "They Live," he actually wrote that down. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I need to rewatch
all out of bubblegum.
that quote was stolen by Doom, or what was that game? Duke Nukem.
Stolen by a lot of people, I'm sure, but he actually wrote that down.
And put that in a game. They put that in that game.
But he wrote all that down.
So the jobber crew come out, all the baby faces, they're standing there, and then the only person got a pop was the old man, Shad. He got a kind of a pop. It's like,
that was shocking.
Shad is here.
I did not expect that.
And he's standing there.
First, I thought it was Walter Matthau from Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, you said that on Twitter.
No, I think that dude passed.
I God, it looked just fucking like him. It's crazy.
Yeah, but that dude passed like 20 years ago.
I was like, holy shit. That's what I thought when I started seeing the memes. I was like, oh shit, Walter Matthau, and I was like, I rewatched the segment. I was like, oh
unless
my god,
he's a zombie.
Tony had to convince
or a vampire.
Dad, come out to the ring and pretend you're worried about me. At least do that. Be part of this angle. It's like, okay,
I don't know. He had the look of he didn't know if that was real or fake. He sold it for sure.
Yeah,
he did. Like,
what the fuck did y'all do to him?
Ooh,
but I don't remember Eric Bischoff saying, "Hey, Dad, come out and help me with this angle." It's just all bullshit.
Yeah, it's like, okay, son. Whatever.
I want to see where this goes.
I want to see where it goes too.
Only they knew how to do it,
And I'm a definite big critic of the people involved in this angle. But I still want to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's just not going to be Shane and Vince. It's not going to be during the Attitude Era, and it's not going to be that Shane and Vince kind of thing.
It's going to be a parody of all that. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, it's not going to be good, but it's going to be funny.
You might as well then just do a parody. Just do a parody of the Four Horsemen.
No, you can't do that. For order to be a parody, they have to actually really be trying.
And they're going to try.
Funny.
Fair.
They're going to be
actually really trying.
Or
to,
do a parody of the
domination. For us to That's why it was.
They're gonna try. They're gonna try.
I hope they get Mercedes involved in this angle. I hope she joins the Elite,
so she could do her little stripper.
Yeah.
Thing.
If she's gonna be a heel, let her be with them, and just all of it, just all cringe. Just put all the.
It'll
cringe
be like
together
Sable all over again, dude. It'll be like Sable all over again.
Shad pops out.
It's gonna be like The Room and Troll 2, like those classic awful movies that we all love.
So Shad Khan pops out. He sells. He sells his son. What the fuck? I mean, what'd you do?
Yeah, he sold better.
Maybe a little nip pops out. That's the only thing I could see going good for Monet.
What's going on? He had that look like he just woke up and was like, "What the fuck did y'all do to my kid?
Why is my son here unconscious?" Like, what did you do?
Yeah, kind of like Shane or Vince would come down and be like, "What the?"
So I hope we see more of Papa Khan on AEW television.
I wish he would just pull the plug.
I hope in storyline he tries to take this company from.
Okay, in storyline,
but he's the one funding
Papa
it.
Khan, it's time to pull the plug.
Plug on all this.
If Tony turns heel for some reason and joins the Elite, even that wouldn't make sense because they just
like
try to kill him.
The NWO.
No, I think Papa Khan needs to join the Elite. I think Tony needs to be the leader of the baby faces.
That's gonna.
I don't know though. They were cheering when Tony
like Shane
did.
I
I don't think Tony
Shane
could
turned
be a
his
good
back
heel.
on Vince and went with
I
Austin.
think Tony's that lovable idiot.
Yeah, he's got to be a baby face.
I don't know if Shane was a lovable idiot, but
no,
there was a point
idiot.
where
like
Shane went with Austin and became a babyface. Remember that whole thing where he's like, I don't follow you anymore. And he's talking about Vince.
Stupid. That's why
it was kind of stupid, but it was kind of awesome too.
Yeah, but Tony, but Tony, I don't know what he's gonna do. Is he gonna turn heel and join the Elite?
Saying. These are questions we never ask ourselves after an AEW show. Where is this going? What's gonna happen there?
Because we're always just like,
it still has us wondering where this is going next. So credit where credit.
It's garbage. It's
maybe I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm glad I don't watch AEW.
I'm ready.
I just would rather hear about it from Jim Cornette and not even like look at it. I'm just like, nope,
think about all the great clips we're gonna get from Cornette because of this angle. Like,
it's gonna be plenty.
This is treasure.
Okay.
They
were great. Him and Brian were great about the whole no audio thing. I love the.
This is going to be hilarious.
You are a dead man.
This is going to be hilarious, TV.
So that was the end of Dynamite, and
thank the goddess.
And I saw this. My tweet went kind of semi-viral because everybody responded to this one.
I was surprised there was so much pushback on your tweet because it seemed like, of course.
And wouldn't it be funny if Tony Khan just kind of fell down? Shit! Pick it back up.
Yeah. So Tony, that's my tweet. Blah blah blah. Why the fuck did he walk off? He just buried the alleged major threat to his company, Elite. The Buck Spike Pile Driver Tony.
Who's his dad? Is that his dad in the yellow there?
No, he was wearing. There he is, right there. The one in the plaid shirt. There, he's walking off.
Oh, okay. That's Papa Khan. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there were plenty of responses. I was kind of shocked by it.
People got 129. Are just going to defend that company, even whether
it got 100. It got 129,000 views. Like, whoa! My tweet never gets that much. So I got mostly pushback. I mean, people hated me.
I was shocked. I was like,
this one was positive. I mean, I know her, and this was bad, even if it wasn't on TV. Yep,
hey, there's me.
He better be selling at the draft tomorrow.
Was, so I mean, like, I had to give him credit where credit was.
Yes. So now he wants to go full Vinnie Mac, although he's not as good as Vince, and Vince was actually
right. That's what I was saying about him and Shane when they did that angle with Austin was actually much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the parody when they did the parody on DX did the parody on the Corporation.
Yeah, I
thought that was freaking hilarious.
Seeing everybody use that it was off TV, like people are gonna still fucking see it. It's still part of the story if people see it.
This dude says
and they can go on Yahoo or YouTube.
This dude says if it's off TV, give me a break. Again, like I told everybody who responded, and it was negative.
But it's still on YouTube. Is that where you got it?
Be,
like,
this
you're
is on X.
Sell the angle. Fucking sell the angle.
Yeah, you need to go away with it.
It's on YouTube. Anyone can go fucking look at it. Excuse my language.
Out with the angle. And they half-assed it.
He's definitely no Andy Kaufman. That's what I said. He's trying to do the neck brace because Kaufman used it all over the place. He was trying to keep kayfabe, and he's just definitely not Andy Kaufman because he can't even keep kayfabe about the other.
He's trying. He's just really bad at this.
In WWF, you didn't talk about the other company.
He is trying.
Yeah, he is trying. I believe that.
I do think if Tony Khan had a second shot at it, he would take the stretcher.
Yeah,
the only ones who could really get away with talking about the other company were like Hogan, or Vince. I remember Vince said one time to DX, he's like, "I'd rather join WCW than join DX." So I mean, again, there were certain people who could talk about the other business, but not like Tony Khan or like people lower on the card. And
they were
put down WWE right
on
NFL Network. First of all, NFL Network is like WWE, but I mean, don't do that shit.
Yeah,
they weren't. Like I said, the stuff that was said back in the 90s, it was all pretty playful and was all pretty much within storyline. Like this was like this was like libel, like bro.
Oh yeah, that's why I said
why
Tony could be facing a lawsuit from
like
WWE.
that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not. That's not fucking That's not fucking keeping kayfabe.
Someone
and,
throw
like,
him
in
a
the
shovel
spirit
so
of
he can keep
competition.
digging himself
That
in a
was
bigger
just
hole, you know?
Yeah.
That was just a
Whistle
fucking
while
low
you
blow
work.
for no reason.
WWE Botched Parody, who is kind of famous on Twitter for being an AEW fan. Congratulations on your one and only viral treat. Thank you. That's why I said thank
Here
you.
he is responding to it. So obviously,
He's responding to me. So yeah, so thank you.
Obviously, it elicited an emotion out of him.
He's like, this guy says he was helped out, and like he popped up and casually strolled out, and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. You know, they're arguing that it wasn't on TV, so it doesn't matter. And
Like I
like,
said, they're going to look for any reason to defend anything AEW does.
Are we supposed to think
there's
he was
just that
paralyzed?
group of people that will not admit any flaws.
All right, moron. I mean, he was spike pile driver on top of his head. Yes, he was probably paralyzed. That's why you would assume, because, you know, when you get spike pile driver, your
But
neck.
that's
He's not a wrestler.
That's why
he's
he had the neck
frail
brace,
little
right?
owner.
Yeah, that's
You
why I
gotta
said
sell
yes.
it.
Yeah.
You at least have to attempt to sell it. Otherwise, again, I understand. No, he was no Andy Kaufman, but you have to try to sell that. Now that you're
If
you're
going
the
to do an
boss,
angle like this, you got to go
right.
all out with it.
And remember,
gotta
Vince
sell it.
actually looked the part of a wrestler when he went into that steel cage with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tony Khan does not look like a wrestler. So if any of his wrestlers try to do moves on him, it could really
they
hurt
should look
him.
devastating as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tony Khan's not a wrestler. Technically, Vince wasn't either, but
but at least he looked like the part. Yeah. All of this drama that's going to happen in the next few months over Friends Wrestling stems from one man who's no longer there, which is true. It's CM Punk. That's what this started.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody over.
And Tony Khan feared for his life, and he was sitting at a freaking computer.
And he took a spike pile driver on his head, but he didn't fear for his life then, huh?
Yeah,
he no-sold their finish. He
should lean into that. He should come out and say that he feared. They should lean into all that criticism and stuff.
Yeah, they should.
Tony Khan should come out and say that he fears for his life, and the Young Bucks aren't allowed in the fucking aren't allowed in the arena.
There you go.
You can have a linear thread of a story within a TV show about Tony Khan fearing for his life and keeping the Elite out of the building, and they come in and, fuck the match up at the end and run out. Like, you can do shit with this.
Because all the marks cosplaying as wrestlers in AEW, Tony doesn't understand wrestling psychology, let alone the business works.
Yeah, see, so you do have some logical responses in here. But usually the quote tweets that are negative. That's what I've noticed.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to the quote.
The quote tweets are usually the mean ones.
Yeah, he should.
But I mean, this is just like psychology of. I mean, this is what the Austin McMahon feud was based on. So it was the evil billionaire Mr. McMahon against the employee who was, middle class maybe, but he wanted to be more, and he was more, and I mean, if Tony Khan wants to go down this rabbit hole of, I'm going to do the Austin McMahon feud, okay, but it's already been done, and it had better stars in it.
First of all, the psychology matches up with that, because who's Austin and who's McMahon in this situation? Like, I don't know what
Tony Khan is McMahon.
Who's Austin though?
But Austin is not the Young Bucks.
They need.
Like, the Young Bucks are supposed to be the heels. Like, Tony Khan has to babyface himself somehow or join them. Tony Khan has to make himself a babyface and join the Elite for any of this to make sense going forward.
Right.
All right.
So I mean,
we'll
like I
see
said,
which
it's
side
like that
he
whole.
chooses.
It's that whole Austin versus McMahon, but again, it's been done, and you don't have a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, they don't.
Well, I want to see if Tony Khan joins the Elite and becomes a heel. Who's going to be the team babyface? Like, is it?
Again,
maybe there will be
that Austin. You need your Austin.
Might pop out of this and get mega over. But I mean, getting over in AEW is just like you're really only reaching.
Yeah, he agreed. He said, "This is the death knell of AEW. If I posted my true thoughts, I'd be suspended from Twitter again." So I was like, yeah.
I mean, they did it to me, and I said
this is definitely going to make or break them going forward. Like they're going to have a lot of eyes on them, I think.
Now this dude says, or person said, the cameras are off. It's 2024, not 1980. So we're actually referring to kayfabe doesn't matter anymore. So
I hate that.
Then why did Tony Khan have the neck brace on? If kayfabe doesn't matter, then why did he have the neck brace on? He's not he's not trying to do kayfabe anymore, right? Kayfabe is in the past. It's in the 80s and the 90s.
You can always
so then
tell
why
when
was he wearing the neck brace?
16-year-old pops up on your timeline with a quote.
I mean, that's just gross.
Like that's a kid.
I mean, they should be trying to do kayfabe. That was a part of wrestling at one point. That was part of wrestling. That's why we liked it.
This is a lack of experience on Tony's part, but he has enough vets there that someone should have told him. Well, like Jake the Snake Roberts is there. He's still there. He signed an extension recently. I don't know what he does there. But...
Are you serious? And what about Arn Anderson? Isn't he there too?
I don't think he's there anymore. But I know Jake the Snake signed an extension.
Best thing he could have done for himself.
He's just taking the Mark's money. He doesn't give a shit. But he's there. He could have told him, "Hey Tony, you should actually sell this properly," you know. But
hey, hold on one sec. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. That's fine. It's like it reminds me. People are like, "Well, kayfabe is dead." Like, okay, but it reminds me of the '80s. There was an angle. A Junkyard Dog did an angle with the Freebirds. I'm not sure you know this, but it was in Mid-South where he.
Is that where the guy had and it slid out, and Junkyard Dog had been blinded, so he couldn't really go and grab it. I'm not going to say what it is, but he grabs it. He couldn't grab it because, I mean, technically you could just, if you were blind, you could just pretend like you heard it and say, "Oh, I heard it. It was sliding on the metal." You know, you could say that. Yeah, I saw his biography or Dark Side of the Ring. I saw his
Michael Hayes accidentally sprayed him with like hairspray, and he was blinded, and he had to retire.
That was the angle. That was the kayfabe. And he said the reason why he didn't grab the thing is because he was blinded. He was trying to keep up kayfabe. Yeah. But again, I think you could have gotten around it with if you just went like kind of like this, like if you're just kind of searching for it and then you just grab it and pull it away from the person. But by then the cops had already gotten to the guy. So
but then after that,
are you going to show some of these quotes?
Yeah, I am. But then a Junkyard was like. So he was at home. He didn't go out. He kept his those glasses on the entire time.
Yeah.
And then he did an interview
at ringside, and he was supposed to be blinded, and he heard this, and he's like, the reason why I didn't grab it is because literally I would have broken kayfabe. But like I said, I think you could have gotten around it. He could have just like felt around it and said, "Oh, I heard it sliding on the metal," or however he talked. I'm sorry, I can't do an accent.
And then he did a promo. He did an interview where he just had his baby recently. And he's like, he couldn't see. He's like, "Oh, there's my baby right there." And his wife had like, "No, your baby's here." And then if you're a family man, if you have a family, that hits you. That it has
that hits you in the heart because you can't see your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then right after that, he took off his glasses like the next week, and then he took off this, and then Michael Hayes shit his pants and ran and tried to fight, and then that match was on, and it was hot, and that angle went for weeks. They worked those matches.
But that's what we would call kayfabe, and the same thing with Andy Kaufman. He wore the neck brace everywhere.
Oh, that angle was so hot. That angle was so hot with Lawler. I mean,
because even Lawler didn't even know what he was going to do until he stood up. I saw the thing between him and Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, that whole.
He didn't even know what he was going to do. He just kind of stood up and was like, "Okay, what am I going to do? Slap!"
Yeah. And Letterman show just started.
It was like he's like, "Oh my god, what did you just do?"
His show just started like a few weeks before that. So
and they
his
put
show
him
was
on the
brand
map.
new.
Yeah, and they put him on the map because of that.
It helped this show. It helped Letterman become who he was today. That moment there, that angle,
everything about that was
filmed on the show.
And that's the magic of kayfabe.
That was the magic of kayfabe that we were just talking about.
Kayfabe, what are we even doing here? Like we're just watching.
So let's
choreographed.
That's what I'm saying. Like they say, "Oh, kayfabe doesn't matter anymore." Then why did Tony Khan have a neck brace on?
It's still
during
very
the
essential
NFL draft
to the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Right.
If
you
left...
actually you saw when me and Taz were arguing about it briefly.
Yeah.
He deleted the tweet, but I was like, come
why
on,
did
Taz.
He delete
like
his
he
tweet?
got mad at somebody.
Come on, Taz.
We were on
Taz
his
just
side.
shit on kayfabe, and I was like, come on, Taz. Like you know better than this.
Yeah.
It's like
and we were on his side. And he's like, he deleted the tweet.
Taz.
I'm like, dude, don't delete the tweet. We're on your side. We just want you to keep kayfabe. That's all.
That was at like 1 a.m, so Taz might have been knocking back a few.
Yeah.
But this moron especially is like, if he left on a stretcher, everyone gets spiked with a power driver and never gets stretchered out. So why does it make sense now? Here we go.
Because
And
Tony Khan's
because
not a
again, it
wrestler.
would have been kayfabe.
Tony Khan
Again,
isn't a
why
worker.
did Tony Khan wear
Tony
the neck
Khan's
brace
not
on
a wrestler.
NFL TV? It all comes back to that neck brace.
You
So
get
if
the
you're trying to
point,
keep up
there's a lot more than
kayfabe,
that, but
he should have been stretchered out. Yes,
where is
go ahead and be stretchered out.
here we
He
go.
wore the neck brace to get the attention from the guys at the ESPN
Right.
and NFL Network. Like,
But
oh,
that's
Tony, what
called
happened to your neck?
kayfabe.
And they
That's
mentioned it a
exactly what
lot. They
Andy
actually
Kaufman
mentioned
did.
the Young Bucks by name. They mentioned the move by name. Like,
Yeah.
it was mentioned multiple times this weekend.
On the
So
Yeah,
it
they didn't do a
worked.
stretcher job. No, because that would,
Marvin
that would
the
be
movie
kayfabe too.
monster. Like he didn't do the stretcher job. He thought they did because it's obvious he didn't do a stretcher job.
Like, really? Yeah, he was like, what? Yeah, he just assumed they did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like no,
Yeah,
they didn't.
should
I told
have.
them.
That would have been better with kayfabe. And I think even Jim Cornette would be like, dude, kudos. You kept up kayfabe. You did the stretcher. You did the, Andy Kaufman neck
He
brace.
would have. Yeah.
I mean, you would have gotten a
I
standing
guarantee
ovation
you
from Jim Cornette.
when Brian and Jim talk about this, I guarantee you they're going to bring up why didn't they do the stretcher spot?
Yeah, why didn't
Your
they do
tweet-
this?
I mean,
Because
yeah,
that
I
would
mean,
have kept
like,
up kayfabe. Because Jim was there when they carted out Andy Kaufman. He took pictures of it.
I'm sure there's going to be people on shows that bring up my tweet because if you see it, it's like 39 bookmarks. So people bookmark this tweet for a reason. So I wouldn't be surprised if you hear my name around there, in these shows in the next few weeks.
We love you, Angel. Just remember us poor people when you make it big time. Okay?
I'm glad you made that point though, because it needed to be made.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, because that would have given
I
him
didn't
more
know
credit.
that. I was like, because I assumed
to
it
the
too.
neck brace.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I assumed
when you
that's
posted that, I
what
was
we
like,
want
what the
Tony
fuck?
to do. That we want you to do the kayfabe. We want you to do that, Tony. That's something
they
you should
can't
have
do
done.
anything right.
We want to suspend our
You're
disbelief.
a billionaire. You can afford an ambulance. Do you remember this, Greg, where they were talking about where Jerry the King Lawler was saying, I'm over here waving to the fans, and someone, I think it was Jimmy Hart or one of the referees comes over and says, Andy Kaufman wants an ambulance.
We can't afford
we can't
an
afford
ambulance.
it. Oh, he'll pay for it himself. Okay, get him an ambulance.
Yeah.
Get him his fucking ambulance.
he was still talking to the crowd, but
while he
his
was
voice.
waving.
Always working, Jerry the King.
Always working. That's right. So they could have done something like that, but again,
they got a fucking ambulance for Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq was working.
Shaq
better
got an
work.
Kayfabe. Tony, we want you to do good, so this is how you do good. But you can't.
Like I said, I think if
he
he could do it over again, he would have got the
I hope he would. This guy tagged.
Tony's smart enough to
That's
know
what you're
that
supposed
he
to do.
He missed,
That's what we want you to do.
That opportunity.
This guy tagged Jim Cornette in the tweet on my tweet. So
goody!
Wowie.
Yeah. I do
think
he tagged
Jim
this
Cornette
has the potential to get brought up because it's such a good point. Like,
come on, man, put him on the gurney, wheel him out.
Wheel him out. That's right.
You can tell who grew up watching real wrestling and who's been watching only for like the last 5 years. Just by people's opinions on this topic, you can tell who's been watching for like 5 years and who's been watching for 30 years.
Well, and no offense, I wasn't even born yet for the whole Andy Kaufman thing, but
I know about it. Yeah.
I know about Andy Kaufman because
we know our wrestling history.
Well, yeah, I know wrestling history, but I also watched his.
We know how important all that was to the
on
story.
Comedy Central, they had his, his specials about Andy Kaufman, and I would watch them because I loved Comedy Central at the time.
Yeah,
and I mean, you could sit there and watch all. It was such a great channel. Now
it used to be.
Shit.
Now it's just a production.
Consistently, at least AEW Sport Medical Treatment carries over to the boss. Consistency, at least when
what if they're having trouble finding a gurney that identified as a gurney?
That's actually a pretty funny point.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
they don't
Punk,
use gurneys anymore, do they? Whereas in our day,
welcome
they were
back
using,
cookies.
Yeah, they were using gurneys every other day.
What if they're having trouble finding a gurney that is identified as a gurney? Bad Cookies.
I see what you did there.
Good one, Bad Cookies. By the way, I owe you one.
Damn, even he was injured. I know it's not real. He still looks goofy, dorky, man-child. Yes, he does. I mean, if you see,
he does. Get carried out and be the kayfabe thing.
I just had a thought.
Okay,
do you think Tony maybe undersold it because he knew that he was going to be seen on the draft the next day, and thought that maybe getting carried off in a stretcher, acting like he was paralyzed, might even look more ridiculous if he just pops up on TV the next day.
No, I don't.
Do you think maybe that
this
they
all
were
the way through?
put into that? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the
I know you're trying to give him the benefit. I'm not giving him nothing except for that he fucked up, and if he wanted to sell this as kayfabe again, because
maybe he thought that would be overselling it. Because
I don't know,
to be at the draft.
But it would have been he would have gotten a praise from Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette would have praised him and be like, "Yes, this is the Andy Kaufman angle that you wanted to do. Carry him out on the gurney. Make sure that
that's the only reason I can think of why they didn't do it, because they didn't want to oversell it because they knew he was going to be on TV the next day."
Yeah, this guy.
I mean, I don't know though.
He could be on TV, but with the neck brace.
I'm reaching. Like I said, maybe he thought the neck brace is a nice, comfortable medium, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm reaching to try to find a reason.
Yeah, none of us know what's in his head, but it would have gotten him praise if he had gone the whole way with this and just taken it to the next extreme. So you call in the ambulance, you have the father, oh my gosh, my son, oh my gosh, and have his dad sell it too. I mean, that would keep up kayfabe. But again, kayfabe doesn't matter anymore. So why do the neck brace when you weren't even trying to do that anyway?
They should have done the stretcher job. They had to do the neck brace. They had to do the stretcher job and have Shad, the dad, walk him out with him into the ambulance and go in the ambulance with him and leave.
That's how the show
should have wrapped up.
Like, oh my God, I'm going to go to the hospital with him. I'm going to be,
that's how the show
Shad Khan closing the
concerned father,
Yeah.
Just like
I would have praised it.
And then update people the next day at the draft, say it was a close call. I'm lucky,
but Tony's
fine. Yeah, lucky to be alive and blah blah blah.
And say that they were just being precautionary,
right?
Yeah, there really was no reason not to do the stretcher spot.
Do the thing that
because you could have explained that. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just glad.
Vince did with Shane. He was like, "Oh, I'm a concerned parent. I'm Shane's dad. Blah blah blah." And same thing that Shane did for Vince.
The show should have ended with Shad Khan shutting that
ambulance door,
driving the fuck off.
If they would have done that, I would have said, I don't like the Elite. They're not over, but this is good. This is a good start to this angle. But they didn't do that, so it's like,
no, they didn't go all the way with it.
Yeah, Tony Yayo Khan. They should have turned him heel on television and make him a coked out, spoiled rich kid playing with his daddy's money.
Exactly.
Like I said, they should lean into all the criticisms.
Yeah.
Well,
Tony should.
They should have done it right the first time, because now this is just a debacle.
This is a negative one, which, but this is what's wrong with the IWC. They post a video and provide a narrative that doesn't fit the video. Tony Khan was aided from the ring all the way to the back by staff. In no way did he walk off from his own accord, which is implied by stating it buried the butt.
This is classic excuse making.
Yeah, it's an excuse.
He walked off after the...
I
got to
he
the
knows
back,
you're
right?
But does still... thinks
he's making excuses.
Defend AEW.
Yeah, he has to defend the company.
I think he knows you're right, but he's like, I can't let anybody
trust me, VX. This is not Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Tony Khan wishes he had a Stone Cold. But that would be the entire angle right there. If they could find a Stone Cold Steve Austin, if they can find their Stone Cold Steve Austin, they probably could beat WWE in their
all
ratings.
Over the place.
So this guy also attacks me. Moron thought he could bury this moment. Dude, it's already got viral. You can't do anything to bury it. It's not some old scoundrel podcasters. It's the mainstream media. So if you will shut the fuck up, people want to enjoy this moment. So he called me a moron, whatever.
Enjoy the moment of Tony Khan get his ass handed to him, and then
that's such a spazzy 14-year-old tweet.
Yeah, who is this guy? I mean,
like literally,
blah, blah, blah.
I hope that's not an adult, because that's a
It sounds like a teenager wrote it.
Yeah,
and look at the grammar too. It's pretty awful. So it's like, I'm assuming this is a teenager, and he's like, it already went viral. Okay,
this is obviously someone who never saw wrestling in our day and never looked back to see what wrestling was supposed to look like. Tony Khan did a half-ass kayfabe when he should have done the whole kayfabe. If you're gonna do kayfabe, okay, fine, do it, but do it the whole fucking way. You can't do it half-ass.
This is another one.
Baby steps. We got to take baby steps with baby Tony.
Okay,
this is another one.
He's trying. Bless his heart, he's trying.
This dude says, "LOL, we have to stop trying to be like Jim Cornette. The angle's fine." So he's
what does that even mean? Is he assuming that Jim Cornette would say that?
Yes, that's what he's assuming.
I would take that as a fucking compliment.
Yeah, it's like he's assuming Cornette would say that, which he will probably when he comes out with his
Cornette would
thoughts.
say, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't just do it halfway.
Like I said, I feel like this is just classic excuse making by these bad faith tweets.
And they all hate Jim Cornette.
Right. They know
they
you're
all
right,
hate Jim
but
Cornette,
they can't
so
give an inch. They can't ever say that anything's bad.
Showing how weak that move is. Yeah, I mean, just burying the elite
kind of
finish.
The move a little bit, but yeah.
LOL, relax. It's just a Meltzer driver, and foremost, come on, we all know he'll be fine, and it's just an on-screen TV bit.
See,
if he was stretchered out, people will start talking about.
That's why Tony Khan did it half-assed. Now
this generation has such a warped view of what this.
Yeah, and people.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be fine. That's what Andy Kaufman was trying to prove. Oh no, I got hurt because of a wrestler. Blah blah blah.
Ironically.
I didn't know wrestling was real, but now I know it's real. And he would use the again, Tony. This is what happens when Tony does it half-assed. This is you need to go all the way with kayfabe or don't fucking do it.
Ironically, he says people will start talking about how unsafe the workers are with their boss. LOL. Fragile ass people today. He was fine. It was great TV. So he's calling us people like me fragile because I dare criticize this angle.
I don't know if fragile is the right word to use.
I criticize it because it's half kayfabe and half not. Because he shows up on NFL TV with a fucking neck brace.
Dave says this week, I wanted to give Tony Khan credit because he's wearing the neck brace. Then I see this. This should have been a stretcher job. Any interest I may have is now gone.
You either go all the way or fucking forget it.
There was
that
more.
Guy's been watching wrestling for a while. He gets it.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot more sensible tweets than I thought because it came across as. A lot more people were talking.
I think a lot of people were genuinely shocked that it wasn't. Like when you pointed that out to me and I saw in the video, I was like, "Wait, what? They didn't? Wow, come on, man!" I was pretty disappointed in Tony when I saw this tweet.
This dude who's looks like kind of a
wrestling is fun.
Like yeah,
he's already off to a bad start with me.
Yeah, he's walking off with help. My God,
he probably liked the best friend segment to open the show.
I wouldn't be surprised. No wrestler needs to be stretchered out from this move. Tony's laying there. He needed so much help for a while. This is good. It's plenty, so it's good enough for him. But it's a spike pile driver on top of his fucking head. He needed to be on a stretcher. Like he's thinking like. But he's thinking like guys pop up from it all the time, so it's not a big deal. But Tony Khan is like,
that's
what they've trained their audience to think. Though,
yeah, that's what they trained. I was just gonna say that's what they've been doing for so long. That's why they have multiple finishers. They have to do it multiple times.
They all bury their own finishes.
They kick out everything. So this audience has been trained. Back in our day, Greg, you can attest to this. Angel, you can attest to this. That. It was one finisher, and once they did that finisher, guess what? When Stone Cold hit his finisher, it was over.
I don't remember ever seeing anybody kick out of the stunner.
I know several people kicked out of the perfect plex, but that's only if Kurt allowed you to, and I can count on one hand how many people kicked out of that perfect plex.
Yeah,
there was not a lot of kicking, like hardly ever.
Yeah, you hardly ever kicked out of those finishers.
Everybody these days bury their finish, especially in AEW, but even some in WWE do it.
Cody buried his finisher, having to do that shit 3 times.
Three times to Roman Reigns. I was like, dude, come
on.
Now
he's established he needs 3 times in order to beat a top guy.
He's trained his audience to think that one isn't
makes
good
no
enough.
Sense.
Bury your own finish.
Or that's why they have multiple. Doesn't Cody have multiple finishers?
CM Punk loyal stand.
He's got a couple moves that lead up to his finish, but no, it's pretty much that crossroads he's been using.
AEW. I'm blocked by AEW, by the way. So you see, I'm blocked by this account. So somebody blocked me who runs his main account. So, but it says AEW.
Consider it a badge of honor.
Yeah, AEW is literally insulting wrestling fans' intelligence with this. Makes Okada and the Young Bucks and Jack Perry look threatening as a box of kittens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So there's a lot of this. All right. So this is a negative one. Non-wrestlers only gets helped out of the ring while looking barely conscious after recording had stopped. Look at the anger over it. Apparently nobody goes to shows or watches him on TV, but he must sell it just in case it gets filmed and shared on social media. Fuck's sake. Yes, he must sell it. People are going to upload it to the internet, so he has to sell it properly.
This is this is just like we're gonna do the
Tony
CM Punk thing, and Greg, you thought CM Punk was lying about something. Oh, by the way, CM Punk wasn't lying, but then he's like, oh, I copyrighted. Don't look at our bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Come
then
on,
this guy
stop
says,
it.
this moron says, delete your account. You're providing nothing of merit to the conversation. So
actually, we are.
That's a typical AEW freakazoid right there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry. You need to delete your account and stay the fuck off the Zoids. Stay the fuck off of wrestling wrestling websites because we know what the fuck we're talking about. This is not how wrestling should look.
This guy
Go
says,
look up some Andy Kaufman stuff from the 1980s.
Yeah, this guy says, I love the segment. Do your fucking
research. Sorry,
I love the segment, but I do think a stretcher job should have been done. At least this is sensible. He liked it, but okay, that's fine. I don't problem you liked it, but
this is definitely a stretcher job. And trust me, Tony Khan has billions of dollars. There's no reason why they couldn't have a stretcher or an ambulance there.
Yeah, that's a good tweet. You know, let me.
Yeah, I just don't feel like this show was kind of thrown together. It felt like and there wasn't a lot of attention to detail in the show. I mean, from the fucking sound being fucked up to the way the card was structured, the way the matches were structured, the way that one match just popped out of thin air.
Sorry.
It was all thrown together. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me they didn't pay attention to detail.
This person says, you MFers complain about everything. Guaranteed if you wouldn't stretch it out, you still would have complained about it. No, I wouldn't have.
No, I would. Because he would have gotten
that's the only thing we're complaining
by Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette would have complimented Tony Khan and said, you stretched it out, you used the Andy Kaufman neck brace thing. That was good wrestling. That was good storytelling. But this is half-assed and it's bullshit.
Yeah.
No, I would have
was half-assed.
I would have said, oh my God, Tony Khan did something right for once.
Yeah. I would have praised Tony Khan.
You, dude.
Like, hey. This was the wrong show to half-ass, man. If they're gonna have such a big angle on it,
all right,
bring back kayfabe.
This chick says is young. Obviously, she says this guy stinks. Can't make everybody happy with an emoji there. So she's a teenager.
Yeah.
So
and
this
she shares my
good
name.
contribution to the conversation.
Look, little Miss Stephanie, who shares my
name.
Look, honey, you stink because you don't do your research and you don't know what old wrestling used to look like. Look, Chickie, I wasn't born in the 1982s or 83s or 84s, but I fucking know what happened back in fucking Portland and AWA, and I wasn't even fucking on this planet yet.
Read that one, Angel.
Sorry.
Even though I retweeted this, but it's kind of a criticism to me, though. The move was done by guys barely his size, and the flip barely touched him. He could have sauntered off for all I cared. And I'm like, okay.
And you know what? He's not even wrong.
He's not even wrong, but still, I mean, I retweeted it, even though it's kind of a criticism towards me. But
again,
I think that's the guy who hates the young bucks.
If you're going to have Vince McMahon, you're going to have a Stone Cold Steve Austin, too. You got to have your Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Make-A-Wish version of all that. It's a bunch of little kids acting out what they
saw.
No offense,
the real guys I did see that Make-A-Wish that Triple H did. I actually like that one. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
This guy says this is their attempt at storytelling. Reminds me of a story a second grader would write. Jack Perry raised his hand. Jack Perry hit the guy. 3 guys come out for no reason, beat him up, but it's okay because he had the magic get up stone. The end. Tony Khan, do us a favor, go away.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Jim Cornette is going to say. This is exactly what Jim Cornette is going to say. You had a great story here. You could have told it and you half-assed it. Now, no one's going to believe your bullshit. No one's going to believe that you need a neck brace. No one's going to believe that shit.
This guy says
their stories are so basic.
This guy with a I guess this is I'm with AEW. Okay. So I walk off, he's being carried. Again, he's not being who cares? He needs
that's
to be
an excuse, man. You're just making excuses for a mistake they made. Like that's all they're doing.
This person sent out a Shawn Michaels crying emoji or a picture
fuck Shawn
from
Michaels.
WWF.
No offense, Steve, but fuck Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels lost his smile because he was into heavily drugs. Nobody ever thought that guy was going to be a great champion in the first place. And he literally spiraled out downwards just like Brett and Jim Cornette said he was going to. Because he's a fucking idiot.
Angel.
So go fuck yourself with your fucking crying bullshit.
You tagging me in this tweet, every time I open Twitter, I had the +20. From you tagging me in this original tweet.
I didn't know this tweet would go
like,
viral.
Every time I opened Twitter, I was like, God damn, this thing is going crazy.
I didn't know it would go viral. I wanted you to see it. That's why I tagged you. But
I
didn't
mind it at all. I was like, damn, fucking, this shit's blowing up.
I didn't know it would go viral like this. Fake and so dramatic, honestly. I don't know whether it's referring to me or referring to the angle, but
well,
so that's why
the angle mostly.
I would guess the angle.
Yeah.
Angel, you're not fake. I can see you. You look real to me.
Yeah. So let's see. 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
2 steps back.
That's what I said, man.
Did that say something DiBiase?
And the 2 steps back was the fucking next day when he made that stupid fucking comment about Harvey Weinstein for no reason.
Right.
Oh, that guy has me blocked.
Oh, I bet $20 he shows up with one. You're sure? Somebody quoted my tweet in his response to him.
I don't think so, Bad Cookies. Kurt Hennig was the greatest wrestler ever. Nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
Michaels, blah, blah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe Bret.
Let's see.
Maybe Bret.
Bret was great, but he wasn't perfect.
Selling how the Bucks.
That was good. I like what you did there. Great, but he wasn't perfect. That was good.
This person tagged Jim Cornette again. Jim Cornette, instead of they just fought off, I'm hearing your voice saying, and then they just walked off.
That's That's exactly what they literally had. Jim Cornette compliment coming, and they literally just went and just watched it die
podcast
right in front of him, because I could see Jim Cornette going, it was great storytelling, I loved it. They stretched him out just like they did with Andy Kaufman and the whole neck brace thing. Great. It was great. It was just like the Andy Kaufman thing. Again, why do I have to repeat myself?
I look forward to hearing his opinion on all this.
Right, I can hear it. I can hear it right. I can't do the Southern accent. I'm sorry, I can't do the Southern accent. But if you imagine, he'd be like, "It was great storytelling. It was just like when I was there for the Andy Kaufman thing." I can't do the accent. Sorry.
Somebody also tagged Brian Solomon in this tweet. Apparently, he's a wrestling writer too. So
yeah, he's been on.
Works with Brian last.
Yeah, when Brian last was off,
I remember. I know
he was like sick or something. Yeah, Brian Solomon was. On his on the experience and drive through a couple times.
Yeah, that's all the tweets and all the quote tweets. But
thank the goddess, I'm sick of these fucking little kids who act like. Hey, your guys had a chance to make something happen, and they blew themselves on TV. Okay, that's all they did. What was the thing about Vince McMahon you wanted to talk about? I was like, what? Vince McMahon?
Oh,
what did he do now? Is that the whole thing where they think he's gonna buy his own wrestling?
It was the update to the. It was the update to the Jenel Grant lawsuit.
Okay.
Oh, did you hear Nick Khan sold a bunch of stock too?
Yeah, Nick Khan is selling or putting up his stocks to sell.
I can't imagine at Vince's age he's going to try to start a new wrestling company.
That's what I said.
I just think he's too old. Maybe if he was like in his 60s, I'd believe it, but he's just too fucking old to
That's what I said. And who would he be his staff? Is what Brian Last and Jim Cornette were also talking about.
And which wrestlers would you get?
Like, who wrestle? Yeah, who would wrestle?
Everybody's
he's like,
contract.
Maybe he could get an NFL team. And I'm like, why would he buy? Because XFL happened. The XFL.
I don't think any NFL owners are looking.
The XFL really worked out for Vince.
Yeah. Yeah. So real quick, this is an update to Vince. Jenel Grant and blah, blah, blah. Okay, no, this is not. Basically, Vince is arguing that she's lying and stuff, and
of course he's always going to say his end of it.
I think Vince is just going to end up settling with this girl.
Yeah, she's lying.
He did some of it, but I think she was a willing participant.
Basically, the gist of it is he wants her to go to arbitration because it's an arbitration clause in the NDA instead of going through federal court. So,
I think he did what he did, but I also think that she was a willing participant. For
I think she probably started off that way. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially with Johnny Ace.
So I've really kind of stayed away from all that stuff because I don't really like to speculate.
It's kind of hard
on,
though because
shit,
but it's kind of hard because he did have WWE,
Like none of it surprises me. If you tell me Vince was like a sex pest, I wouldn't be like what none of that. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he had something to do with Jeffrey
really surprises me. I'm just gonna let it play out. I'm not really on one side or the other.
Tony Khan is ridiculous. He's Speaking to the NFL Network, I'm not going to play the clip. I don't want to risk it. But Tony Khan spoke about AEW's status as a challenger brand. He also called WWE
not even in their league.
Like the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling. AEW been doing this for 5 years. We're the most successful sports startup since the AFL.
No, you're not.
The AFL. And what happened to the AFL? Oh, that's right. They merged with the NFL. So that's
it got bought up by its bigger and better.
Oh my God.
So
talk about delusional.
There's not been a challenger brand that's gained as much market share as AEW has in many, many years. What market share?
What market share is he
You have 600,000 audience. That's all you have. 600,000.
Your ratings are in the fucking toilet, and you literally cannot get asses in seats. WWE can not say the same. They are putting
like
asses
the
in
Pepsi
seats.
of pro wrestling. We're like the Pepsi.
In their own like building. The Pepsi of in maybe like before Pepsi was a thing.
He's the Shasta of pro wrestling.
He had a chance to do an angle correctly, and he couldn't even fucking do that.
And now he's burying.
It's called being delusional, boys.
He's burying.
That's the epitome of AEW, man. They
what,
can't
being
get
delusional?
Right. They just can't. No, they just can't do anything right.
And he's burying his world champion. He's burying his new world champion that is crowned because he's now going to be an afterthought. I don't know if he's going to work.
I don't buy all this Tony Khan is racist stuff, but he sure does give them a lot of ammo.
I never even heard that.
Oh
no, we're coming at him from a right angle, which is the angle that we should be talking about. You need to do this shit right, and then your ratings will go skyrocketing. Yes, do shit right, and then you will you can say, "Oh, we're just like WCW when they were taking on WWF." No, you're not, honey. Your ratings are literally in the toilet. You can't put asses in seats. You're like WCW when they were just about to go out of fucking business.
I bet they do get a ratings increase this week, but then again, it was like how much lower can you go?
Yeah,
but I do think they get a significant.
They have to get an increase.
They'll be back.
They need to, or Papa Khan, you need to pull the plug.
They'll be back in the mid sevens, I think, next week. And if they do good again, maybe they get back to 8.
They have to get an increase, and this angle has to be.
I think they'll be back in the mid sevens.
Yeah, because if they don't, then this angle, AEW is pretty much dead.
No, if they get less than what they got, it's.
I don't know how. They're ice cold like WWF 95.
There's nothing they could do.
Right. Just like I said, WCW when it was just about to go out of business.
There's ice cold at WCW in 2000 or in WWF in 95. But at least Vince eventually, turned it around, but it took years. They were ice cold for like a year or two.
They needed that.
And Vince,
that's stone cold.
WWE did turn it around, but WCW also kind of shot themselves in the foot a lot. It almost
Vince Russo comes to mind.
WWF was doing some good shit at that time, but WCW
Stone Cold
wasn't
and Vince
helping
McMahon.
Themselves.
Because Eric Bischoff admits that on 83 Weeks. He says, we needed our Stone Cold and we just didn't get one.
Yeah.
And you know what started the downward spiral was Starrcade 97. Once they fucked up that finish, the WCW was good. That's what happened.
Well, that and the fact that they broke the NWO up, wanted to turn half of them babyface, the other one were heel. What the fuck was that? Don't break them up, and then you got them back together, and the finger point of doom.
It basically turned into the TV show Lost. Like it started off really good, and then they had no fucking clue where to take it, and it was just kind of flying by the seat of their pants until it just finally crashed and burned.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And then the Vince Russo brought back the NWO again, NWO 2000. Remember that one? I mean,
the Millionaires Club.
Yeah, and he had the Millionaires Club, but he also had Jeff Jarrett and the Skull guys, the Harris Brothers. He also had the Harris Brothers in the NWO, and I'm like, Jeff Jarrett would never go into the NWO. What are you people doing?
It was Jeff Jarrett. It was Jeff Jarrett, Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, and somebody else.
Just barely Bret Hart.
There was no chemistry.
Barely.
When the NWO first got together, you believed that those guys would hang out and shit. Like, oh, these guys are friends. These guys, you know what I mean? When it started to get with like all that, it's like these guys are just
they broke it up into the NWO Wolfpack and Hollywood, and I'm like what the fuck? Why are you splitting it?
You gotta believe that they would actually be together. You know what I mean?
Somebody believed by the time the NWO 2000 came out.
But I also think that because Brett says something in his book that Nash kind of wanted the power out of Hogan's hands. So he was kind of looking for Brett to kind of take the power over from Hogan, which, I mean, I thought Nash did that anyway when he started the Wolfpack. But I mean, the thing is, don't split it up. Just, whatever these guys are having issues with, let them fight it out, on a street fight or something off the show.
Hogan's
on the show, you have to be professional.
It was impossible to take power away from Hogan.
Exactly.
Exactly. I don't know what Brett was talking about. That's just kind of what he said.
Yep. Hogan can say, doesn't work for me, bro.
Hogan wasn't doing anything he didn't want to do.
Yeah. That's right. He wasn't putting anybody over. Again, I read another article
He tried to put Billy Kidman over.
Someone who's mid-card and fucking
did it out of spite.
Yeah, he did it in the shittiest way possible.
Yeah,
it wasn't even
because Billy Kidman was, middle card at best.
He knew that was it wasn't gonna matter. He's like,
but even Kurt says during the whole, you remember the West Texas Rednecks? I mean, even Kurt says in an interview, he's like, I don't know, I don't want to say anything, but a guy with blonde hair said, I can't follow that, brother. So who do you think broke up the West Texas Rednecks when they were actually doing great? There were people starting to cheer them. They were supposed to be heels, but they turned into baby faces because everyone who liked country music saw them as a baby face.
Yeah.
Hogan killed him off, and he killed off a lot of acts.
A second time. He axed the one in 89 when they were getting Kurt ready for, the run in 89, and he axed that, and then he axed the West Texas Rednecks. I mean, talk about jealous.
Which I don't get the 89 part, because Kurt would have made Hogan like $1 million.
He did. If you watch those matches.
Yeah, and it's like, why would he kill that off? It's like
Hogan was probably intimidated by
jealous.
Kurt. Like he knew he couldn't. If they actually got in the ring together, he would completely outshine Hogan and everything.
Right, because he was second generation. He knew how to wrestle. Hogan sort of knew how to wrestle, but I mean, they were both.
Hogan was good at beating big fat guys.
Yeah, I mean, Hogan, he had AWA wrestling, but he didn't go into like Vern Gagne's school, and Hogan didn't have a famous father who was a wrestler. Kurt had all that stuff, and Kurt knew the business. So yes, of course, Hogan was like, oh shit, if he upstages me, guess what? I'll go down the card. I'll go back down the card.
Always worried about that.
And Hogan he was jealous.
Completely fucked over the Undertaker, lying about that shit.
That's
he did it to the Undertaker too.
Man, poor Undertaker.
Undertaker's like, I would never hurt him. I never hurt any of the guys. Who hurt guys? Warrior.
He totally put on a fucking act. Oh, get my kids on the phone.
What's worse, if you saw that match, Hogan's head never got anywhere near that chair.
Not even near the
mat. Immediately had a impromptu pay-per-view.
That was the point of the Tombstone pile driver. It was different than the real pile driver.
And then they had to make up. It's like, no, it wasn't that. My head didn't.
It wasn't that.
Squeezed me too tight.
But his head's not even near any part of it. I mean, it's just he would go down to his knees. That was a Tombstone pile driver.
He saw a guy coming for his spot.
Right, the Undertaker, and then the Undertaker was pushed. He was turned babyface and pushed down the card.
It was Carney,
but that was because of Hogan.
Hogan's an old school worker.
Yeah,
he was an old school worker. He's like,
I don't know if he's an old school worker.
No, what I mean, not by wrestler, but worker, backstage politician.
Yeah, backstage.
Because he took the tombstone. Oh, you got me, brother.
You got me, brother. Yeah. No one, Undertaker being new would totally take all the blame.
Yeah, he knew that it would ruin his career if he did that.
Yeah,
you got me, brother.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I think he knew that if he. Yeah, fuck Hogan for screwing Kurt twice. Hogan and also Flair. Flair's the other one who axed Kurt having the belt in 92. Kurt was going to come back earlier than he did, and Flair said, "I'm not going to give him a title shot." Well, fuck you, Flair. Fuck you. Yeah. You weren't even a good wrestler either.
Flair, but. Hogan sold
Flair
forever.
Was a good worker too, man.
And Flair was an old school worker too.
Because he knew that loser leave town match, Kurt totally upstaged Ric Flair. It's a good thing that the right loser left town.
And I think that's kind of what held Kurt back at that time, being so much better than all the top stars.
And the top guys, yeah.
None of those
and
guys
Vince was more for the bigger guys.
Yeah.
The guys who couldn't wrestle and hurt people like Warrior.
And so yeah, I mean, Hogan was like, "Oh, well, he called my kids. Here's my insurance, and I'm gonna die." It's like bullshit. I mean,
Hogan
I saw it in.
Hogan took the stretcher. Hogan did.
Yeah, he got the stretcher spot. It's like he's an old school worker.
Hogan even went in the stretcher.
Well, yeah, he's an old school
worker,
kayfabe guy.
He
you have to give it to him there. You have to give it to him there. He was definitely a kayfabe guy, though.
He wanted to fuck Taker. That's all it was about, and it worked for a while, for a little bit.
But he also knew that if you took what the Undertaker had to give you and you walked away from that instead of the stretcher thing, I mean, he knew that would be bad kayfabe. So even Hogan knew the limits of kayfabe.
To the bullshit, he had to go all out with it.
Yeah, he had to
go all out with it.
And he did.
Yep.
And he still lies about it to this day. Like his
his
story has changed like 5 different times.
He actually told people that him and Mr. Perfect were like this in
he's one of the
WCW.
biggest liars.
Yeah,
we could do an entire episode breaking down Hogan's lies.
Yeah,
it won't be enough. It wouldn't be enough. After 2 hours wouldn't be enough.
Some crazy fucking lies.
I know. Harley Race sets the ring on fire. I mean that I was like, I don't see Harley Race doing that.
Making up that whole story about the Make-A-Wish kid when he wasn't even
in
Wembley.
Oh yeah, he wasn't booked in the UK.
He could smell death.
He made up this whole elaborate story.
What?
Like, bro, you weren't even there.
Well, if he was dead, then why did you? I mean, why did you? Why was he talking?
I knew he was gonna die, but I got him front row seats just in case.
I got front row seats, even though he passed away before
I wasn't even fucking at.
That was SummerSlam. That was SummerSlam '92. He wasn't on the card, and it wasn't on the UK. Yeah, Bulldog and Brett main evented.
Oh my god!
So, and Hogan's the fucking lies that guy told.
We could do an entire episode. I would have to look. If somebody made a list, I would go through that entire list.
It's fucking crazy.
I hope he doesn't lie about Kurt, but he did lie about Kurt one time. He's like, he's in heaven with Mr. Perfect. I went, don't say Mr. Perfect's name because you literally fucked him over twice. And now me and Kurt we were like this in WCW. I was like, what?
I'm sure you weren't.
He'll make up fucking anything, man.
Oh, because they had an angle together where,
well, that was Hulk Hogan saying that. That wasn't Terry Bollea saying that. So he's
remember the lie where he tried to say that Hulk Hogan's dick was bigger than Terry Bollea?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's a lying piece.
I'm like, are you going to measure both of them?
It's like Hulk is. We got to do an episode breaking down his lies. Because it's hilarious.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go all gross or anything, but seriously, I mean, it's like,
that would track.
Are you gonna bring your dick out and then do like a limp dick and then get yourself hard and do a bigger dick? So Hulk Hogan has a bigger dick than Terry Bollea. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
No, like I said,
I don't want to gross you out or anything.
No, we do have to wrap up.
We'll
kind of hot.
Yeah, I got to put my son to bed.
Yeah, we do have to wrap up. But
time flies with y'all.
Yeah, it's a good conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed
among
in the
friends.
Chat. Yeah. Hope everybody enjoyed in the chat. Hopefully we'll get D next week. I mean, unfortunately he wasn't here. But yeah, we'll see. I want to hear his opinion on what happened on Wednesday. But
I'm excited to see what happens this Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it next week. But
I'll be happy to hear Jim Cornette talk about it.
I want to hear Jim's opinion on.
I can't wait to hear Jim's opinion. We love you, Jim Cornette.
Gold. It's hilarious.
and Brian
so many more moments because of this angle.
You can't leave out Brian last. We're sorry, Brian.
Let me see. Did he upload on this?
I got my popcorn ready.
Not yet. I haven't. Well,
I'm ready for this.
Jim Cornette reviews announcing Tony Khan will meet with Jack Perry on Dynamite. That was the announcement.
So Brian's uploading them right now, then, huh?
Yeah, he's uploading them.
I think he's uploading it right now because I heard the no audio.
Yeah, that's the only.
They were talking about the no audio earlier.
He released the full podcast. He's giving us little snippets.
I know. I'm like, stop doing this. I just got done with the experience, and now you're just I think you do this just to piss me off.
Yeah, Brian's uploading him now, so I guess we'll get it tonight or tomorrow morning. His thoughts on what happened. So yeah,
remember everybody. Nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody. Check me out. Kurt Hennig was a best.
Those links in the description. Steph is mute. You're mute, Steph. But yeah, we have to wrap up now. So yeah, we can't hear you.
Steph.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
It stopped.
Hold on. Yeah.
Got bad signal.
How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. All right, well, we do have to wrap
my
up.
son
Hope
came in
everybody
and then
enjoyed.
it said my microphone disconnected. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, he probably accidentally moved it or something. All right, well, I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Very important if you can. And I will see everybody next week for episode 12 of Pro Wrestling Talk.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.